a couple of things before we get started on this very exciting episode. First of all, we have an update on the desk situation.
The desk update.
We bought the desk.
We did.
And it is an epic worthy of a very, very short screenplay, like maybe one page.
Yes. 60 seconds of film.
So we had gone and scouted the desk on a bike trip, and we couldn't get it at the time because we were on bikes.
Right.
And we talked about it last episode where we're like, we're going to go back, and if it's still there, we'll see, but we don't have any room for it.
Right.
So there was that.
So we did go back, but it was contingent on the measurements of the desk.
Yes.
Solely, the whole idea was if we can get it in the back of the truck,
then we can bring it back here.
yes. But if it doesn't fit, then it's like a sign, done and done.
Right.
Right. And I say that because, folks, we have an Xterra. So Xterra owners, you know how the back hatch has all these weird
Angles.
waves and angles and stuff. It's like,
it's a curvy hatch.
Yeah, it's 57 inches wide at its widest, and then where the little curves come in, it's like 41 and a half. So, well, why would you do that? Anyway, so measured the hell out of the angles and the short distances, long distances of that truck hatch.
I came back from work the day we knew that the shop was open, because it's not open certain days of the week, and it is open other days of the week.
Well, yeah, Tuesday was the first.
I came in hot after work.
I know.
And I was like, let's go.
Are we going to get the desk? Like, you just watch. I don't know what's going on.
Let's go get the desk. We measured, and then we went down to the shop, and you measured the desk.
Yep.
And I grabbed the tag. I don't even think you were done measuring. I just grabbed the tag.
Wasn't. You just rolled over and you went up to go have them ring it up.
Yeah, I know.
While I was finishing measuring.
And it's a good thing that I did.
Well, yeah, because I finished my last measurement and said, yeah, we can slide it right in. Don't have to do anything fancy. It'll just go in width-wise. It just made that minimum width.
So ring the desk up.
Yep, they're ringing it up. And
then we go back to grab the desk. And I think you were finishing up with some receipt issue at the counter, but I went back first.
Yes.
And there were two women looking at the desk.
Yeah.
And one of them left because they were like all on it, right?
Right.
And one of them walked toward the counter, and I didn't know if she was going to ask for the price.
Yeah. She wanted to know how much it was, but we already snagged the tag.
And here's what I was doing, because I'm a little petty sometimes. I was watching this woman at my new desk, our new desk, admiring it because it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
And I was just like, in a minute, she's going to be very sad about this, but maybe I'll just let her enjoy the desk for a second.
Yep.
And then you came up and you were like, we just bought it.
Yeah. Like, what? No. How much? And we told her, she's like, oh, is that all?
I know.
And I kind of felt the same. I'm like, yep, that was all. Get away from stuff.
My desk. So
we got it home, and we discovered some things. There are hidden compartments.
This desk is full of secrets.
Oh man, and things that were compartments that we didn't even know were compartments, and then we found the hidden ones. And oh man, this thing was great. Needed a little TLC.
Yeah.
Had some little wood finishing pieces that we had to glue. Looks like somebody like savagely tried to restore this thing.
Yeah.
The underbelly of stuff is when you're like, ooh, shit, what did they do?
Someone tried to home style restore it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
There's a few other little nicky-nacky things.
Minor
but
stuff,
like everything else that we get, everything needs a little TLC.
Yeah.
That 40s leather top writing desk needed a lot of TLC. Your armoire needed like aggressive TLC.
It did need aggressive TLC, but it
or
got
not armoire, your vanity.
Yeah, I knew what you were talking about.
Well, like too many things.
Anyway.
So the desk is here. We got it home, and
we found a place.
Oh yes, the vigorous mental process of moving. I had some ideas. Like, all right, let's do this. So involved moving a bookshelf to an empty space that's kind of weird. And bottom line, it all worked out.
Yeah.
It looks magnificent. And we just look at it and go, yeah.
Yeah, I look at it and it's beautiful. And then I also look at it and I'm like, that person really wanted this desk.
I know. The only thing we need to do is we need to find a professional leather worker to the leather inlay.
Redo the inlay.
Someone, the original one is gone. That's not the original.
Right.
They tried to make one. It's obviously way too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bowed up and stuff and it doesn't work. So we got to find someone to come out and do some, millimeter measurements and do that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, enough about the desk.
Yeah.
What we have going, what follows this is one of the most exciting, fun episodes we've done in talking with folks.
Yeah.
We had no idea we'd be able to pull off this many people. We had a surprise
Yeah.
guest that Eric Schumacher, who we started this whole thing.
He did all of the work of arranging, like everyone, you arranged with him, but Eric got everyone together.
He did all the legwork. He is such a cool person. I mean, just really genuinely, all of these guys are just people that, these are the kind of people you want in your life.
Yeah.
Just really fun, good people and
super positive.
Yeah. So, we hit like the jackpot on this one. This is truly some beautiful human beings. I don't say that lightly. These are wonderful people. There is a lot of good stuff that's going to come up. Mm-hmm. Listen close and listen again if you have to. Some great stories and stuff, but a lot of good advice, a lot of just good experiences.
Yeah. I mean, we record this podcast and I don't listen to every single episode, right?
Right.
But I listen to a lot of them, and I especially listen to the interviews. And this is one that I can't wait until we put it together and put it out so that I can listen to it on, podcasts.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make it in here that was before we started the talk and then after we closed it. I have kept that file. And as a bonus to people, maybe I'll pull some, behind the scenes chat.
Well, with permission.
With permission, yeah. I mean, there's nothing revealing.
Right.
But yeah, it would, I'll get some blurbs out and run it by these guys and see what they say. Anyway, without further ado, because this is a long one.
It is.
Let's get into this wonderful, wonderful chat with cast and crew from Revenge of Zoe. Let's pop it off.
Bang on. Let's do it.
Hey, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim.
And this is Danny.
And we have a crew on with us today. We have, and I wrote it down so I didn't skip because I wasn't sure all the names would show up. We have a returning friend of the show, Eric Schumacher. We have Nathan Campbell. We have Marty Catola, Jeff Notkin, and Cliff Campbell. Folks,
Hello.
These are the minds and masters behind Revenge of Zoe, which we talked about last week. And we are thrilled to have all of you with us. Thank you so much.
I'm super excited. This is like the biggest group we've ever had on the show. So it's going to get a little crazy, I think.
And not to be rude, but none of you are drinking Scotsman.
That's true.
Which
you're aware of.
Yes. Well, we would find out quickly. We've had some folks from Scotland who one of them we actually recorded for 4 hours. Now we only used like 2, but he just kept going and going and going. They're both wonderful and delightful. So we watched and talked about, for our listeners, Revenge of Zoe, a micro-budget film that was a lot of fun.
Was a lot of fun.
And one of the things that I had mentioned to Eric was, by the end of this movie, I desperately wanted an action figure of Nick. I don't know why. And Eric said a lot of people say, get that. He's like becomes the favorite. He was just so much fun to watch. Not to diminish anybody else, but yeah, I don't know. I gravitate to the truly obscure presence on screen.
So right now,
yeah, I saw Nick Levine
this...
Oh man,
a Nick Levine Day poster.
Yes.
So what I'm holding up is a prop actually for the sequel to Revenge of Zoe, which is called The Love Song of William H. Shaw, which I'm sure we'll speak about.
Yes.
But the artwork that you're seeing, Jim and Danny, was illustrated by Molly Kiley, who also did the illustrations for the beautiful opening title sequence of Revenge of Zoe.
Gorgeous title cards, yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She's a very, very celebrated cartoonist who's worked with Fantagraphics.
Okay, excellent.
One of the many great cartoonists we were lucky to work with on these films.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we talked about the artwork at the beginning. It was wonderful. We're nerds, so that's why this film really grabbed us. We've gone to Comic-Cons and hope to one day again.
Yeah.
Fate willing.
So say we all.
Yeah, so say we all. Got a picture with him, by the way. That was my favorite thing. So, Revenge of Zoe, we had talked about, was a sequel, which we did not know at the time we watched it, to Writing Frenzy. And there was some years in between those, apparently. Guys want to talk about the journey to Writing Frenzy and how Revenge of Zoe was sort of birthed much later after that?
Marty, you want to take that one?
Well, let's see. Writing Frenzy in 2009, that was the first real attempt from Pondo Enterprises, which is me and Cliff's production company. That's some proper English for you, me and Cliff's. And it was our first attempt at really trying to do something that was kind of had a universal appeal to it. We had done a few things before, but they were just kind of student film, testing the waters type things.
Okay.
And then that one went over really well. People liked it, but it was so low budget that it didn't get distribution because, it was very cheaply made movie, but it's a good movie. And it just took quite a few years to get the wheels rolling again to make the sequel. And I guess the timing worked out perfect to wait 8 years? Because Revenge of Zoe is a lot better than Writing Frenzy. I mean, Writing Frenzy is a good movie and all, but it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I know you're not supposed to say how cheap the movie was, but in comparison, that one was basically made for pocket change, while as Revenge of Zoe, we actually put a budget together and, hired full actors instead of just putting our friends in front of the camera. But, Writing Frenzy is also important too, because it brought us Nate and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
They were the two first real actors that we started working with. I mean, there's a couple other people in Writing Frenzy as well, but they didn't come over with us.
Jonathan Northover, especially.
Yeah, Northover is a good example.
He was the first Billy.
Mm-hmm. And then we had a few other projects in between during those kind of quiet years, and then
we did a lot of commercial stuff. Like we made
that's true.
We made digital packets for a theater chain for their preview reel, for their digital preview reels. We made packets for their, hey, come get a popcorn, that type of stuff. Hey, Coca-Cola is now blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So we did that for a couple of 2 or 3 years.
If you saw a movie at the Dickinson's theater chain during the years of 2012 until they went out of business, you probably saw the little turn off your cell phone thing that Cliff and I created. So that was cool. I think more people have probably seen that than anything we've made.
Yeah, that's the most watched thing.
Nobody has any idea who made it.
Very true.
And then we just, we showed Writing Frenzy, a re-edited version of it at Tucson back in, 2015? 2015, I can't even remember anymore.
2014 or 2015, yeah.
People loved it so much, especially the people who put on the screening. They said, well, when's the next one? When are you making another one? And we were like, what? We hadn't, we kind of have a thought about it, but not really. And then I played the recording of that Q&A that happened after the screening to Cliff, and within a week he had an outline, and then everything just snowballed from there.
And I was laughing because Fred Front sounded insane to me. He was talking about how it was. He thought it was the greatest independent film he'd ever seen, and he really and. It was he seemed very genuine. I just thought that's hilarious. Well, hey, let's make a sequel for our fan. That'll be fun.
For our fan.
We were used to people kind of crapping on us a little bit because we used to make, largely not so much shitty stuff, but stuff for just us and our friends. We didn't really care if anybody else thought it was funny. We thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's like, maybe we should try to make something that other people might enjoy.
Yeah,
and so once we started doing that, and it got a good response, we were like, people like it. Oh, so when we try to be edgy, we think it's funny, but they don't like it. But if we reel that in a little bit, people seem to enjoy it. So I think we found our niche with the comedy thing.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Julie, Eric points out that Julie was with us, the young lady who plays Sarah. She and Paul Navarro, who plays Ira in the film, have been in every iteration that we've had of the Zoe series. Okay. There's one before it called Comic Book Diaries that I don't like to talk about.
Oh,
but it's
I'm going to write that down.
I starred as John in that one, and Paul was Pete, Nate's part, and then from there we kind of went, all right, well, what happens if we sort of reboot this? Like, what if we reboot this, take it a little bit further and reboot it? And Writing Frenzy was just so much better. It was such a better story. It was almost like we had made a movie of all the sort of origin stuff. And it's like, nobody really cared about that. As soon as we moved on from the origin and just started telling the story of these two guys in this comic book store and this sort of drunk who comes in trying to write a script and trying to get these two guys to help him, it all just sort of exploded and made a lot of sense. And then the friendship aspect started coming in and then, And so from there, it was just, well, let's just pile onto that and make the second one. And let's go a little bit crazier. Like what happens if she starts kind of like, she shows up and he's such a drunk and such a drug addict that he starts to have visions of her and he started to be haunted by her. And what happens if he gets he gets another job? What happens if these two guys are pissed off at him? What happens if he can't get the help,
Yeah.
And it sort of just, it really almost like, as we're passing it back and forth, it sort of wrote itself. Pretty straightforward.
That's one thing you brought it up about her, showing up. That was one thing I liked about the ending of Revenge of Zoe, where we've all seen movies where the drug-addled alcoholic is living in this world, and we always use Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas because that's sort of our holy grail of films. But
understandable.
It's I love the fact that they didn't disappear. And I just, at the end of it, thought, that's that whole guardian angel thing. And it actually kind of reminded me of a line from Jacob's Ladder, where Danny Aiello is correcting his discs and stuff. And he starts talking about devils and angels, and angel, a devil becomes an angel when you shift your point of view. So rather than these, bothersome drug things going on, they're like riding this with him. And at the end, they're all very happily toting along. Like he fixed himself, but he didn't get rid of them. It's almost like they weren't brought on by the drugs and stuff. I don't know. It was just, it's a small thing. And these are the kinds of things that I look for in movies that just really made me go, oh, that was kind of sweet and a little powerful that,
we definitely didn't write her as just someone to show up and torment him. I mean, she obviously has some sort of interest in his well-being. She and Nick drag him to the, he has that vision of being dragged to the back by them. She's got his head in her lap, comforting him in one scene. So she's not just there to just terrorize him. She's there to sort of help him. And she knows that making him write this will help. And she's also, in my opinion, she's sort of the, she's the flag bearer. Like if they stop writing frenzy movies, then maybe she fades away. Right. And so it's important that she keeps getting Nick to write frenzy movies.
Now,
Nick, I think you're really going to like the next one if you liked how that ended.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, and I mean, this Revenge of Zoe is so much better just because of who we brought along. Eric was in the first one. He said, "I want to produce the second one. I want to be more involved in making it. I think I have something to contribute." We said, "Great." Talked about it. He signed on board. We have a screen or like a reading at a comic book store that we're going to shoot at, and Jeff shows up. And Eric said, "I'm going to bring my friend Jeff in and have him read for a part." And we said, "Sure." And he's got that great accent, and he's got good timing. He's obviously done this type of thing before, and so he nailed the part right away. We were like, "Yeah, that's perfect. We'll have him." And then Eric calls us an hour after the screening. Marty and I were kind of buzzing at his house, just like you do after the first time you hear the script read. If you've ever written anything and had it read by a cast of people, it's like a whole thing. So
the first table read is just always so fun.
Yes, and so we're fist bumping and excited, and then Eric calls us and says, "Hey, this Jeff, he was really super impressed. He wants to put some money into this and come on as a producer, not just as an extra. He was basically just going to be like we were just going to use Jeff as kind of like a guest star."
Right.
And we were just shocked. Nobody had ever. Nobody had ever. You want to what? Is he right in the head? He knows what we do, right? Like,
you want to give us money?
Yeah, you want to give us money. Are you sure about that?
It was such a great. I'll never ever forget that day. So I'd met Marty a couple of times. I knew Eric really well. I'd maybe met one or two other people briefly, but a friend calls and goes, "Hey, Jeff, we're doing this comic book movie. Would you consider doing a cameo?" And I go, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then Eric came up with this really great idea. I worked in the comics industry for many years, and have loved comics my whole life. And I wrote a memoir about my life, my lifelong fascination with comics, and some of the great. Oh, well, thank you. I happen to have a copy right here.
Let's get a plug going right here.
So,
there we go.
So this is the start of it all. It's called My Incredibly Strange and Amazing Real Life Adventures in the World of Comic Books. And I've had this.
It's a fantastic read.
Oh, thanks.
No, it is. Well, it's a fantastic read.
Through no skill of my own, I'm the Forrest Gump of comics. So my oldest friend, my best friend from childhood that I grew up with, that I've been inseparable with since I was 10, is Neil Gaiman. So I didn't do anything apart from be weird to get that. And then I went to School of Visual Arts in New York, and I studied with Will Eisner and Harvey Kurtzman, Art Spiegelman, some of the greatest cartoonists who ever lived, and many other stories. So anyway, I decided to put them into this book, which you were just reading, God, that couldn't possibly have all happened. I just fell from one thing to another like Doctor Who. So the idea was, Eric said, why don't you come into the comic book store and buy a copy of your own book? It'll be funny. It'll be a little meta thing. And I go, yeah, okay. So, your friends ask you to do that, and they give you the script, and they go, yeah, I'll read the script, sure. And I didn't actually read the script much until I got there.
You would be shocked how common that is. Yeah, I read my bit. I read my part.
I read my bit. Well, I was only...
So not damn near memorized before the read through.
I only had a page of dialogue. It was no big deal. It's just a funny little bit. So... But I'm busy. I'm producing a show, another TV show, and so I get to the reading, and that's how I experienced the script for the first time. Not reading it on my own in my office or my home, but with this great cast of all these really colorful characters sitting in an actual comic book store doing the reading.
The rehearsal took place at the CBD's set. Yeah,
it's just magical.
So the whole time, I can only think of one thing, which is I cannot wait for this read-through to be finished so I could go ask Eric if he would ask Cliff and Marty if I could work on the film. And Eric's very diplomatic. He's very kind. But he also would never speak for somebody else because he's so respectful. So I was kind of like, after the reading's over, I go, Eric, can I talk to you for a minute? I kind of drag him out of the store. And I wasn't actually, in my mind, I had him by the collar. I was going, I want to get involved with this film. It's probably not how it actually happens. But he said, well, yes, I'll ask the guy. I'll ask the guys. And I said, well, do you think they'll be interested? And he goes, probably, I would think so. I mean, I wouldn't want to speak for them, but I might be surprised if they. Well, I should let them speak for themselves. So, anyway,
that was a pretty good me impersonation there. That's It's like you know me or something.
We're all overly polite sometimes, aren't we? So that's how my journey with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse began, as I like to call the four producers on this film. And since I said that, may I just point out there are many excellent women actors involved in this film. We've quite a number of our crew were women also, and for I don't want your listeners to think this is just a boys' club. No, so right. our cast is at least 50-50 women and men, and it just is unfortunate that none of our women cast could make it today. And they were invited, so we weren't excluding anyone. We are trying to be good.
Yes, they were. Let's make that clear.
We promise. We told them it was next week, but they were invited.
Well, yeah.
You know, Jim tried telling me this was next week too, but then I saw him come in the studio.
It's been nice knowing you, Jim.
Yeah. Maybe I'll head back to Arizona now. That's one thing.
Jeff brought another level with Eric. I mean, Eric brought in just this amazing cinematographer and an amazing sound person. And Eric has this ability to talk people into doing things cheaply. I don't know how he does it. But he convinces them that, like, hey, look, you're getting paid a lot here. And they're going, I am, aren't I? And he goes, yeah, I mean,
that's not what I do at all.
$50 is a lot of money. $50 is a lot of money.
And no, that is not how it comes.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm just guessing. I don't know what you actually tell these people, but maybe threats. Nate could tell us.
I was going to say, I think maybe it's, because we know Eric is just this genuinely nice guy. And I think when no one's looking, he's like, "You're gonna do this, or I swear to God,
exactly.
I'm gonna come back and find you."
Yeah, that's.
And
it's not that I don't
like,
have that capacity, but I keep that on screen. No, in truth, people get paid for their work.
It's that underlying fear that we all have, because we all know that Eric is a multi-black belt kung fu master, which he never talks about. No. Oh, see? Always with the modesty. You won't find that with the rest of the crew, I tell you. I'm sorry if you're not. You're maybe a very advanced kung fu martial artist person par excellence.org.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I can hit really hard.
That was part of your discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Part of learning discipline and control and everything. Yeah, which makes sense. I'd love to send our daughter, but things being as they are, because that girl needs a little bit of introspective discipline. But she's 11, so.
Please.
I want to go too. I need that too.
Please go ahead. Oh yeah.
Well, no, I wanted to ask if I could go for the introspection and discipline class as well, please.
The movie is
Jim's daughter to think more about myself. I'm good on that.
Well, Cliff, now that the movie has been released, I think we can release their families.
Yeah, I mean, just the
You're
ones.
talking about the motivation was, withhold your family hostage until the movie.
It's one of those old, feudal warlord type things. You give us one of your people, we make peace, and then eventually you'll get that person.
We took care of them.
For those people listening who are actually, looking at making films, though, just to be clear, because there's a lot of joking going on.
Yes,
there are reasonable arrangements made with all crew and all cast based on what the budget provides, and we go to great lengths to make sure that there are proper contracts, that there is that there's at least the best deal that can be made for each production, and that's really important because some people have to make a living, they have to survive. There's a great deal of work that goes into these projects, and everyone will sign on based on where they are in their careers and what and whether or not the arrangement is doable for them. So really, I mean, when I am negotiating with any. Personally, when I'm doing that, when I'm negotiating with any member of cast or crew, it's just a very frank discussion about this is what the budget provides. This is, here's where you are. Let's see if this is a good fit, and then it's either a yes or no.
Yeah, because I mean, it was important to Marty and I when we talked about it to at least pay everybody something. And some people, I mean, but depending on how much time you were on set or how much work you did, got more than others. But everybody got a little something. And then, of course, we also split the back end pie up quite a bit. That was the more attractive part. Was like, hey, look, if this somehow does something, here's a small percentage of the profits. So right. We'll give you that for a certain amount of time, and that makes people feel like, hey, if this thing does well, if I do well, if we all do well, then maybe there's some money on the back end of this too.
You gents were very generous with that. You were very generous about it, and that's one of the things that really impressed me about you from the beginning. Was something you brought to the table for everyone. And who else got paid in our film? Which other group of important contributors to Revenge of Zoe got paid?
The artists.
All our musical artists.
Yeah, our musicians.
All of our bands.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we really, I had this dream in my head that this film would have a kick-ass rock and roll soundtrack, and I thought, I don't know how we would do that. So there was a long period of time where we 4 producers would have a Zoom call like this every weekend, sometimes for hours, to work through everything and divvy up the tasks. And one of the really great things about working with this group, which I've never had to this degree on any other project, is that the 4 producers each have their own skill set, and that we all know what we're good at, and we somehow divvy up the workload between us. Mm-hmm. And so Cliff and Marty are both very accomplished writers and directors. Marty is a brilliant editor, and Eric has, in addition to being an actor and a director and a producer, is really good at PR. And he set up this interview. And I used to work in the music business, and I'm an art director. And so we all have these abilities. We all do our bit. We all gravitate to the part that we can do best, that will be best for the film. So one of these calls, I said to the guys, when was the last time, not counting Baby Driver, when was the last time you saw a film, an indie film, feature film that had a rock and roll soundtrack that was so amazing that you wanted to go out and buy it? And I think we probably were at about Grosse Pointe Blank, most of us.
Yeah, Commitment, so Grosse Pointe Blank,
yeah, which was a while ago.
A little while ago,
yeah. So we came up with this idea. We said, well, let's try. So we reached out to, I contacted one of my old lead guitarists, Ann Hussick, who's a very accomplished guitarist who played with Ben Susans and Ronnie Spector, and was a musical collaborator of mine for many years, and floated this idea. And I said, how about you come on as co-music supervisor with me, and we find bands that we like that are up and coming, or some established bands, still some, actually one in particular, Latch, very well established, important artist with a long career. And these artists were willing to work with us. And so we have 12, 13 original artists on the soundtrack. And that was for me, that's one of the places in which the movie really shines. It's not something that you often see in a modest budget film, or here, to be specific, is that breadth of music. And we're particularly thrilled that we had several Tucson artists, Mission Creep, Layla Lopez, very well loved artist
who did Surround Sound Baby too, right?
And Swindy, Randall Swindell, the singer
Serena
of the band
as well,
Swindy.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry, and Serena,
well, right?
So Serena is an ambient composer who did a lot of the background parts. So we had, I guess you'd say we had a folk artist. So from Tucson, we had a modern folk artist, 2 rock bands, and an ambient composer, and then other artists several from the New York punk scene, a couple from California, one now, Latch, who's actually my old lead singer, who's the founder of the anti-folk movement, was a very celebrated musician who now lives in Scotland. Talking about, we do have Scottish links.
Ah, there we go. It all goes back to Scotland.
It always should.
Hey, we own 2 square feet of Scotland.
We do.
Hey,
2 feet.
Right?
2 square feet.
Yep.
Of land. Yeah.
You can build a tiny little castle.
A wee castle.
They
be just large enough to keep one barrel of scotch.
One barrel
standing on its head.
A very tiny barrel.
It's funny. Right. So Scottish law, it's still in place today. If you're a landowner in Scotland, you are legally entitled to carry the title Lord or Lady. And we saw this thing pop up like on Instagram. I can't remember where I saw it pop up somewhere. And I'm like, what is this? And we were talking to David and Liam, who are our friends in Scotland. I'm like, is this a real thing? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right. So what they do is they sell land in preserves. And
in Glencoe Forest.
Yeah, so that nothing can happen to it. So we bought 2 square feet. So now we are Lord and Lady Hoy.
Because if it's privately owned, they can't develop the land.
Right.
That's
so
fantastic.
That is fantastic. Have you got a tartan?
No.
Have you got your own clan tartan?
Oh, you should totally get a tartan.
Well,
get to work on tartan.
Well, funnily enough, I'm Irish, so yeah, the tartan thing didn't quite pop up.
Yeah, you can't.
Did you buy the land out of spite or what?
I did. I am going to
start a very small feudal war.
I'm taking Scotland back.
Wait,
one
stand
foot
here drinking the Irish ale.
A Sprite spite.
Don't enter my 2 feet of land here, or I'm getting drunk on it.
We did tell David and Liam. I grew up with the phrase that my grandfather was very much proud of. I don't know where he got it from, but he always used to say, Scotland is just full of the Irish who couldn't take it. which is not a pleasant thing. But anyway, we're not, David and Liam, we love you.
They thought it was funny.
And Ireland.
There's a lot of stuff going on in both of those places.
My favorite story about Ireland is from Patton Oswalt, where he talks about he goes to Ireland to do a series of shows, and he said the Guinness over there is completely different than the Guinness you get here. It's completely different. And so he's drinking them like they're water. He's just loving them. And so he's on stage drinking, and he's getting drunk while he's doing his bit. And they just keep bringing him to him as he's downing them. And so he's on his 14th Guinness during his set. And he says, "This is my 14th Guinness." And somebody from the back yells, "Pussy!" And to me, that's the greatest story of Ireland I've ever heard. It's perfect.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
Cliff, I got to give you a postscript to that. So my dad lived in Ireland for the last in Dublin for the last 10 years of his life. I spent a lot of time in Ireland. And so one time when I was visiting my dad, we were out driving in Dublin, and we drove past the Guinness distillery, which people who are Guinness aficionados claim there's no better place you can get Guinness than from the spigot at the mothership. This is where the finest Guinness in existence exists. So we're driving by, and my dad goes, "Jeff, you see those guys? See those guys over there?" It was in the morning. I don't know where we're on the way to something, breakfast probably. We're on the way to breakfast, so it's 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever. And there's 3 or 4 old boys standing in line there. I'm not making this up. I saw this with my own eyes. Standing in line outside the Guinness distillery, first thing in the morning in Dublin, and they've each got a little tankard with them. And I go, "What is going on over there?" It's like Dune, the Fremen are waiting outside the castle,
the desert planet Arrakis,
to get their little bit of water. So the deal is,
reference. I love that one.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If you were, I am a Dune fanatic, as everybody knows.
Yes.
So the deal is this: if you were a career person employed at Guinness, after you retired, for the rest of your life, you're allowed to go to the mothership and get 1 free pint if you bring your own container. And that's what these old boys were doing, lining up in the morning. Morning, I'm here to get me points. That's right, because that's the best Guinness, right?
How's retirement treating you, boy?
A free point every morning. What more could I want in my life?
God bless you.
I went back in 2005. I went to Ireland. And I went to Bray. So that's south of Dublin. It's on the train. And I picked it because I didn't want to. I mean, Dublin is great, but this might have been like my only chance to go, and I didn't want to go visit another big city. Big cities are big cities pretty much wherever they are. So I picked this little town off of tourist season, and I was heavily into my photography. So I spent a week just wandering around, meeting people, having drinks with them, but I didn't drink. I gave up drinking a long time ago. And I was walking this trail between towns, and I came across 2 guys who were digging fence posts. And I asked them, "Hey, can I get a picture of you? Give you each a tenner, and you can go have a couple pints and stuff." And so they let me take some pictures. I ended up digging post holes with them for an hour, and it was wonderful. And at the end, they're like, "Well, we're from Bray. We're gonna kick off some drinks tonight when we're done. Won't you join us? And I said, I'm sorry, I don't drink. And the one just kind of looked in, and this is so politically incorrect, but this is exactly what he said. Are you retarded? I couldn't help but just laugh. Oh my God. I'm like, I get it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You know, why are you here?
I had a similar thing happen in Paris once. One of my old friends had taken me to this really fancy restaurant in Paris, and I'm a vegetarian, and it's very chic. I mean, you know what the French are like. It's mussels and veal and everything exotic and beautifully prepared and sumptuous. And so the server comes in and he goes, "Oh, bonsoir, monsieur, bonsoir, ça va?" It was just the menu, and I said, "Je m'excuse, monsieur, je suis un végétarien." And he looks at me, and his face just drops, and he goes like this, and he goes, "Je suis désolé. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you who are a vegetarian in this restaurant."
Yeah. In France in general. Sheesh. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, there's not a lot of vegetarian options in France. But,
I think the only place worse to be a vegetarian is in Germany. I mean, how would you ever eat breakfast if you didn't eat meat?
Texas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Texas is the worst place to be a vegetarian.
Yeah,
really?
Both. No, you're both right. Texas and Germany are the two most taxing places I've ever been as vegetarian. And when we were filming Meteorite Men, my TV show, one of my shows for Discovery, we did a couple of episodes in Texas, and my supervisor, my field producer, Sonia Bourne, was a vegetarian, and so was our camera tech, Andy. And when they came on the crew, I go, thank God I'm not the only vegetarian for once. And so we were filming in this little town near Waco, this teeny little town, and the only restaurant in town was a barbecue place. And so we ate there every night for ages while we were filming. And so I'm sure it was for the meat eaters. So Sonia, our producer, is an international badass, this woman. So she walks in and oh yeah, Eric, you've worked with her too. So what's the person who meets you at the front of a restaurant when you go? Not the host. The hostess, thank you. The hostess comes over and she goes, "Oh, hi, y'all, welcome to big ass Texas barbecue pit." And
excellent
goes,
excellent
all
Texan
those
impression.
people there, you see them? They're meat eaters. They can sit wherever they want. These two, they're with me. We want our own table in the corner. Vegetarians, no meat at that table. Am I clear? And the waitress looked so shocked, like she's just been slapped in the face. And she goes, "Vegetarians?" And so I said, "Yeah, we're 3 vegetarians. Have you ever had a vegetarian in the restaurant before?" And she goes, "I think we might have had one time." But
we just cooked him and ate him. He was delicious.
It just goes to show, if you have a good producer, you can get anything done. Even vegetarian food.
Look, I can attest to that. I mean, we shot in a Cafe Tremolo. That was Jeff just going mid shoot, going, "Hey, I got this place. You want to use it?" And we're like, "Yeah, we'll go do that. Let's do that. That looks nice. Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that." "Oh, well, this guy's going to make a spread for you, but ahead of time, and we're all going to eat, and then we're going to shoot." Oh,
on Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday.
Oh,
he convinced that dude to open up his restaurant and cook for us on Easter Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So was that in Revenge of Zoe? Was that the scene with Pete and Mona?
The wonderful scene with Pete and Mona, the dating scene, is one of my favorites.
Why don't we ask Nate to talk about that?
I want to ask Nate to talk about it.
Said anything. Nate is one of the most interesting people ever, and he's very charming and funny.
It feels like he's just been sitting there with that wizened look on his face, taking it all in, assessing, and wondering.
He is wise.
There's a lot of noise in the background, so I've been keeping it on mute. Sorry.
You're so good.
What would you like to know? That was.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I just didn't want you to feel left out.
Yeah, it was. It was a great shot.
So I liked. Okay, so that scene, you guys are.
It was a lot of fun. It was first time I'd ever shot anything like that. It was.
Well, one of the things we liked was the relationships between the two couples. And so when Pete and Mona hooked up. It just that first of all, kudos everybody. That was the most unique opening first date scene, playing the let me tell you about some weird shit in my life game.
Yeah, I'm the worst person in the world.
What I guess so Nathan,
that was actually something that they let me do a little bit there on my own.
How much?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
We must have some weird delay going on because I think I'm cutting into your questions and you're going to answer them. I'm not sure.
You might try disconnecting and reconnecting.
Yeah, if you want to.
That helps. Yeah,
oh no, he's frozen. Nate.
Maybe he's doing it.
Enjoy his visage. No, he Nate has been with us for a while. I mean, there's a great behind the scenes piece. Maybe we'll send it if Marty will send it to you. It's a clip, and it's of that scene that we were talking about where Nate's got a bunch of ad libs that he's written down, and I love Nate, but his comedy and our comedy sometimes sometimes it matches really well, and other times he goes too far for us, right? Where we're just like, no,
which like takes work.
Yeah, we would have done that 15 years ago, but now we're trying to kind of pull it back a little bit, because we found that stuff doesn't work in our voice. So he's got these ones, and we're going through him, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that one. No, let's not do that one. Yeah, do that one. And one of the ones he wants to do, but I said no to, he goes ahead and does anyways, right on camera. And so you can see me go, what? No. And I'm like, wait. And I walk on the camera. I'm like, I said not to do that. He's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, shit, show me on the paper where it is. And he's like, it's right there. And I just take my pen and I just write through it right on camera. Like, there you go. And just walk off. And I'm like, all right, action. he got this like crestfallen look like, aw. It was really funny.
All right, he should be popping back in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does manage to squeeze a few of his own lines in here and there.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we did
he's
wonder.
Always got a little popper at the end, which is kind of sometimes one of the things I like about him is he'll say the line or he'll twist it just enough to give a little bit extra.
Welcome back, Nate.
There he is.
There you go. Is it working now?
No.
Do you hear me?
No.
Hey Nate, Nate, try turning off your video feed. Try turning off your video feed.
Not your video.
Hey Nate,
say things.
It sounded a bit Doctor Who like there, almost. I don't know, like a Cyberman
how's that?
hybrid.
That's
actually
much better.
I'm saying things. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you hear much better.
There we go.
So Nate, I was telling him about
you
that.
Can hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Okay.
That's
right,
actually much smoother.
What's that?
Oh no.
Okay. Good. All right. So what are we talking about?
Cliff.
So what are we talking about?
Your
Cliff
tendency to suggest ad libs.
Yes, you're ad libbing.
Oh, we may not have.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about the scene in the restaurant where, I got to add in. I have no idea what you guys just talked about the last couple minutes, so I'm sorry. Trying to technical, etc. Anyway, yeah, they let me write a few of my own lines there. I just came up with a few ideas that would be like what just crazy stuff and just get more outlandish from there. And I cut them together in a way, or I wrote them together in a way to where she could have ways of one-upping me all the way through to the end of the conversation. And I kind of just like scrawled it into the side of the script and said, hey guys, if I try this? And they said, sure, do what the hell you're going to do anyway, Nate. And it seemed to work out okay. People seem to really appreciate it. It was fun.
Now, how much and Eric, you can chime
hear
in.
Me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Hello?
Oh no, can you not hear us?
Nate, can you hear us?
We're here,
I
man.
don't know what that means.
What?
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
I was just talking for a little bit. Did you guys not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we totally heard you, bud.
Can you not hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
There you go.
You heard everything? Okay, because
Apparently, he can't hear us now.
This is a great interview.
Okay.
This is the best interview I've had.
All right,
in a
what
long
else?
Time.
Yeah.
Eric, why don't we start with you?
Too bad it's live.
Then if we can get it to Nathan, the interaction between you two as actors. So we, because we were wondering how much stuff in this kind of thing was, improvised, ad-libbed. Were there certain things that you guys crafted, that you just like, had this idea and it's like, no matter what happens, this thing I think would be really great, done this way.
Mm-hmm. And the answer to that is no. I do not participate in that. And Nate and I work very differently, and that's really, I come from now, mind you, if a director tells me I want some improv here, that's what they'll get, and I'll do my very best to make it true to character. But my general training was raised up through the stage, and all that. I strive to be absolutely word perfect at all times, and then to bring life into that. So unless told otherwise, I can improv. I enjoy it. So really, a lot of that business is, particularly the improv lines, were things that were brought to the table by Nate, and then it's pitched to the writer directors, and if they like it, then we do it. And there were times during this particular production where I didn't get that until very close to shooting. If not, sometimes some inspiration would come up and we do that right then. So then I would have to improvise a little bit, but very, very infrequently was I a participant in the process of setting up that business. So it's just a difference in way of approach. And I have to say that a lot of those improvs did stay in the movie and were really funny.
The whole desert thing, the desert video.
Oh yes.
That's all improv. That's every bit of that is improv.
Excellent.
We pulled over for the day at the location. Jeff again said, we need to shoot in the desert. He goes, aha, I have a place. And then
of course
he throws me in his truck and we go 4-wheeling off into the desert looking at locations, and which is for like an hour, we just literally leave the crew at the side of the road, and he's like, hop in the truck, and we just go driving off for an hour looking at locations and come back and we're like, yeah, this will work.
I didn't actually know that. That's really impressive because that scene came out beautifully.
It did.
I mean, we knew what we wanted. Like, I mean, I said, here's what I want. I want a shot of this. I want a shot of this. But I did the same thing in if you work with people that you trust and you trust their work, you don't really need to handhold them and you don't need to micromanage them. You trust the output, right? So when you say, during the last film, we have several things like these montage sequences, and I just look, here's what I want. Just get this clips, just go. And I've got other stuff to set up, so the director of photography just went and got it, kind of second unit type stuff. Right. So, Marty was there kind of watching over it and making sure it was good. And that's why we're a great team. He can split off over here, get stuff prepped while I'm doing stuff, or vice versa.
Nice.
And there's been a few times like on the movie that we're still finishing where we would basically change a scene at the last second and say, all the lines are different.
Yeah, I did that. I brought a new script with me.
Well, there were certain points where that was absolutely necessary.
You take 10 or 15 minutes and you work through it.
Yeah.
And some of it ends up being some of your better performances because you get that super fresh.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't want to do that on every scene, obviously. But the places where we had to do it, comes through. Nate does the same.
As a general principle, as an actor, while I try to get the script as early as possible. I try to work it really hard. I try to get word perfect with it. But you also do have to have a certain amount of flexibility because
Especially
there could be line changes for any number of different. Yeah, comedy definitely. I mean, sometimes something comes out when you're working the scene, and the director says, "Hey, do this, try that. No, change that line." And I've been on many sets where, for whatever reason at the last minute, there's okay, that line's not working. We need to change this. Let's mix that up. And you have to, this is a big, big tip for screen actors, which is I highly advise, be prepared to be word perfect the day one when you walk on the set for the whole movie. You don't know what scene what's going to happen depending upon various conditions. The crew may need to switch things up. You might even need to do a different scene that day. It's possible, but also be prepared to be flexible. You that's why it's so important to find your character so that you can stay in character no matter what happens, and then it's real. So I come from that kind of what sounds like a very rigid position, but within that form there has to be fluidity.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you and Nate do share a lot of similarities in that, where you anchor the scenes.
Yeah.
But there's these moments where you find the moments for the flexibility to.
Well, and I want to note also
improv here, or switch this here, but at the same time anchoring everything. So
I want to note also that Nate and I have a fantastic on and off screen chemistry. I mean, he's a pal. Mm-hmm. I really dig this guy. And we met on set for writing Frenzy, and it was not hard to fall into John and Pete at all. Our personalities in real life are, kind of like John and Pete are like extreme versions of us in a way. So, if you were, after the pandemic is less of a thing, if you were to see Nate and I hanging out and having dinner, it'd be a lot like seeing a less distilled version of John and Pete having dinner, I think.
Only you don't slap him though, right?
Or try to kill him.
I'm not talking. I do have to say, Nate does take a lot of abuse.
He took a lot of abuse in that film. Yep.
And I have probably hit Nate Campbell more than just about any human being. And this was a professional gig, so I am hired as an actor to hit
Nate
him.
Campbell's, and he is a martial artist. I just want to mention that again. Eric is a martial artist,
so he was striking through the target.
No, yeah. Well, I also have to say that there are always times where you slip up, and Nate did take a couple of hits that were very much unintentional, and just took it like a pro, as he always does. So,
I mean, I remember one time, Eric, you fell and you missed the crash pad, and you hit your knee, and so everybody takes a little bump. Hell, Nate ran into a table on the last movie. I mean, we're constantly.
He ran into a lens edge. He ran into the camera, and the lens edge hit him right in the forehead, and damn near split his forehead open.
Oh,
really complicated shot with a lot of moving pieces at once, and any change in
safety first,
speed.
Everyone, safety first.
The thing I was more upset about was the fact that we were probably going to have to shut down shooting for the day because he had a bump on his head we couldn't cover. But priorities. I'm kidding.
And you watch the movie and you'd never notice. Now we have dual Nate.
We have double Nate. Oh, now we have single Nate. I am so confused right now.
Now we got iPad Nate. I think that's going to be better.
iPad Nate.
iPad Nate.
Note that this is not an endorsement for Apple, nor has Apple sponsored this show that I'm aware of. Maybe it has. I don't really know.
Another good example of him being quick on his feet. He's showing us his adaptability.
I got some product placement.
Yeah.
I want to show Jim. I want to show Jim and Danny. So since we were talking about Scotch whiskey,
yes,
look at this.
Ooh.
Does that look appealing to you?
Well,
it
looks nice.
So this is for audio listeners. I'm holding up a bottle of Harriman's 15-year-old director's cut single malt Scotch whiskey. So this is one of many original props that our art department created for the sequel. So this is not a real bottle of whiskey.
Right.
There's so much attention to detail in these films, and one of the ideas that we came up with collectively in Revenge of Zoe and in the sequel Love Song of William H. Shaw was to create an engaging, alluring, bizarre comic book world full of characters. Mm-hmm. And so the comic books that you see, the posters, these have been created from scratch, and there's a lot of that in Zoe. So the Frenzy 98 comic book cover that is a really important story element in the movie was illustrated by Rhea Golden, who's a marvelous cartoonist and illustrator who lives in Santa Fe. And she's worked with she works for George R.R. Martin. And so we commissioned her to do that comic book because it was so important, based on some story elements that Marty and Cliff had created. We already mentioned Molly Kiley's artwork in the opening title credits. It's so beautiful.
Die Danny Die, right? Which is based off of the Die Darling
exactly.
Die,
yeah.
So fantastic.
The imagery in that comic book cover and the text and everything is relevant to the storyline. And the day that I was doing the text, the day that I was laying out that comic book cover, I was listening to the Misfits. So Cliff and I particularly, well, we're all rock and roll fans, but Cliff and I particularly big punk rock fans. I think, Marty, I hope I'm not leaving you out. Would you call yourself a big punk rock fan? You're medium. You're a bit more on the classic rock side, maybe.
I like it all. Yeah, but I'm
okay. Yeah, see,
I'm
he's just
punk
very
and metal
reasonable.
more than anything.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so Cliff and I are big Misfits fans, and I was listening to the Misfits when I was like doing the final design and the cover, and I go, Cliff's gonna love this. So the subhead on the comic book cover is one last caress, which is a line from a Misfits song that we love. So also the theatrical poster was illustrated by Carl Ottersberg, who is a brilliant cartoonist who does Danger Comics, and he lives in Warsaw, Indiana. So we reached out to people. This is one of the great things about being an indie film producer. And you might sometimes lament, oh, we don't have enough money, we don't have this, we don't have that. But you know what else you don't have? Studio interference.
That's right.
And I'm a great fan of Larry Cohen, the filmmaker. I don't know if you've seen the documentary about him, but I just think he said one of the wisest things ever said about filmmaking or anything else, film, music, the arts, you name it. The higher the budget, the higher the level of interference.
Yes.
So we don't have to clear these things with anyone. We have a discussion. We'd have a producers call, and I mentioned this earlier, that being not only focusing on what you're good at, but being allowed to run with it. So I say to the guys, hey, I want to reach out to some cartoonists that I know and commission them to do some original artwork. What do you think? Yeah, great. Off you go. And then at the same time that they're doing their tasks, Marty's doing the editing, Cliff's working on the next script, Eric's working on the press kit. So we're all doing stuff. We all have our role, or actually we all have multiple roles. But this is something that's really important to us and is really in the heart of Revenge of Zoe and Love Song of William H. Shaw, is this created universe of comics. Mm-hmm. But the people who are in it that you see doing cameos like David Lee Summers and Timothy Zahn, these are celebrated genre people that we got to come in to play themselves and also create new works for the film.
It was funny.
That's
go ahead.
That's just why I wanted to show you the whiskey bottle. So you comic book nerds will know that George Herriman is the creator of Crazy Cat. So that's just one more little comic book Easter egg in the film. It's Geo Herriman's director's cut Scotch whiskey.
And there's tons of other stuff like that in the film. From the very first scenes.
The bar is called Munden's.
Look around for labels, and there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's really, really impressive.
So Bradford Trojan has hopped on.
Hi.
Hey,
there he is.
I have a family emergency, but I'm jumping on for a moment because this means so much to me. This is like high priority to see you all.
Oh,
love you all.
It's good to hear you, buddy. It's good to hear you.
Hi, Bradford.
That's the first picture I've seen of your boy, man. That's awesome.
Little girl, but that's
little girl. I'm sorry.
That's
short
all
hair.
right. It's hard to
small
tell.
picture.
I don't even know. When I see kids that age, that's. But I'm super. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to just jump in. Well, this is what Billy Shaw would do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel it's very in character.
You just didn't bring Zoe and Nick with you, but that's okay. We'll forgive you for that. Well, basically, you've missed kind of a love fest of this movie, some stories. So
these people are amazing.
You all are. Your performance as Billy was magnificent. We loved the just the representation of him. I clearly screwed up, but I mean, you nuanced him out of that tropish, brain-addled, drug and alcohol type guy to a growth, which was really fun, a growth of a character. And working with Eric and Nathan, you guys seem to really convincingly, as characters come together to like further, not just Billy, but Joe and Pete had to kind of get past some stuff and to get everything moving. And I just loved it. We both did. So well done, sir.
Thanks. I feel like there's a cool thing that happened, and I spoke to my friend the other day about this, because I didn't know everyone, and I jumped into this family basically that was doing this film, and I remember and we all got along so great. We hit it off, and at one point during filming, I remember I was next to Eric, and we were just talking sci-fi stuff, and like I don't know what exactly it was, but just sci-fi comics. And Eric turned to me and goes, "You're one of us, huh?" And I was like, yeah, I am, because it's a little bit like, do we let this guy in? He's coming in, he's acting, he's doing his thing, but like, is he really like, can we really let him into the, inner sanctum of it? And it just felt really sweet. And like, yeah, we all hit it off, and it was just like a blast hanging out and having fun and talking sci-fi and comics and making jokes. And that helps so much, I think, with our rapport. It's like whenever you do that in a film and as acting, I think that's crucial to be able to like relate to the person on screen in a real way and in a wholehearted way and like genuine. So it felt like that was through the whole thing with filming with this whole group of people. And I feel really blessed to have been through that experience and been there. Yeah.
It was such a difference to watch him act between the two movies, like from Revenge to the latest one, because he's got the character now. It's he doesn't need any guidance. You don't need to push him a certain direction. You don't need to remind him of anything. Hey, remember, he's super drunk here, so he's going to be a little bit off or whatever, or blah blah blah. You get him to Love Song of William H. Shaw, and he's just so solid, so ready to carry the movie, so ready to be the actor that he is. And with that character, it was kind of a joy to watch, honestly. It was just like, Jesus, he's just nailing this over and over again. And in fact, they all did. I mean, they're all to that point where they're just, we have scenes with all three ladies where it's just the scene with them, and they were murdering it. Like, it was just like, I turned to the guys and said, you guys are going to have to kick it up a notch, because they're killing it. They're here, and you're going to have to bring it up to that level. Like, and ha ha ha, it's a joke, but at the same time, they were really, really on the game, and everybody was. We
really enjoyed the women characters. It was refreshing. I'll just say that. We're very much, equality in cinema and everything, but that's the thing with studios is we have a script where we decided, could this character be a female, the lead character? And I was adamantly opposed to it, not because a woman couldn't do it, because if this does get into a studio's hands, they're going to butcher it. They're going to turn this from an authentic character to their
caricature,
an executive's perception. Yeah. And it's like, God, can a woman be strong without having to act like Arnold Schwarzenegger? I'm pretty sure we've all met. And these women did that. They were each themselves. And I think that's what played into the two relationships being very natural and comfortable to watch. Katie, she's a business owner. She's doing quite well, apparently, because, her shop is still open and she's got someone in the chair. But she's, no bullshit.
Wonderful Olivia Blake.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, yeah.
And
yeah, Olivia doesn't, yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, Katie's not going to put up with your bullshit at all.
Another of my favorite scenes in the film is in the tattoo parlor with Katie and the really big beefy guy who's a pro wrestler, Chris Evans. There's a particular moment, I don't want to spoil it for fans, but it has to do with him mouthing off a little and a certain implement used for tattoos. It just cracks me up every time.
I'm also just from a personal thing, I love that whole scene because I love I love the way it looks. I love the way the shots look. I love the way the tattoo place looks. That's another one where
one of the things that I really enjoyed about that scene is because the character Billy does really well throughout the whole movie in his like one-on-one scenes with people where he's just connecting to a single person. And so it seems like Billy has a tough time connecting to more than one person at one time.
It's so funny you say that. Yeah, there's literally a line in the next script where he talks about that. He literally addresses the fact that he can't talk to more than one person at once without. He said more than one person and I'm the asshole. That's how it is.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Yeah,
I'm good at one-on-one. I go with multiple people, I end up being the asshole. So
yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up. That's why
I want to point out also that there's some really wonderful chemistry between Bradford as Billy and Mark Brady and Rachel Netherton as Nick Levine and Frenzy. Bradford was in. I was not present for many of those scenes when they were being filmed, but watching them afterwards, and knowing the process. Bradford was the only verbal person in those scenes, and the others were simply responding with their faces and their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt to me like a complete conversation, which really does take a real rapport and a certain level of reactiveness from all of the performers, so that it feels right. Now, mind you, also they're also playing Mark and Rachel were playing these otherworldly characters, but they were very true to form. And Bradford really kind of had to feed them something to react to. So I really love all of those scenes, and particular shout out to Rachel Netherton, who really went through as Frenzy / Zoe, who really really brought out a really amazing performance, in my opinion, and had to go through a ton of gyrations to play this superheroine character, and does actually get to speak at the beginning of the film too.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, that's like her only bit, and then the rest is all reactionary. There's one dynamic in the film that we had talked about that was, and we talked about it on the show as kind of, it's Owen's sub story, where we talked about, we understood exactly what was going on there, and that's the tragedy, is that we've seen and experienced these hardships that he was going through, and I thought about that. So like the whole Owen thing, Nathan really, Pete was the one who was sort of involved with that, because John is here and then he's off, dressing as a mermaid and doing what he does.
I'll have to address that.
And I wanted to just kind of get a little bit from Nathan on working that B story or C story. I don't know which level it fell into the script, and
the Owen arc.
It's So let's see. Jeff joined again, but
Jeff,
Nate?
Nate, is your audio working?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey. So the relationship between Owen and Pete?
Yeah. Just, we thought that was, it was unusual to interject that into this broad story, but I think that's what gave it like some real life depth. Was this isn't just comic book geeks, this isn't Big Bang Theory stretched out to a 90-minute episode. This is something with like substance. And I've always wondered, and we've asked Eric this in the past, but like for you, so you have this character who lives in this world. He's clearly financially irresponsible, clearly has a hoarding problem.
That's stuck.
But then, this character's confronted with this like super real life situation that doesn't have anything to do with, king of the comic books kind of thing. Just in your own like routine, or, how you as an actor roll your character back and forth between sort of, Charlie Chaplin 1 minute and, like truly, just the normal average guy stuck in life. This is a real thing happening and it doesn't involve me.
Man, a lot of it was just drawn on personal experience, but trying to ham it up a little bit. That even goes as far as to like the relationship between the characters. There wasn't a whole lot written between Pete and Owen. That most of the relationship happened off camera. Is where the other actors having discussing their relationship rather than what you see on screen. There's a little bit that you see on screen, but most of it is just it's showing how normalized their relationship is.
Okay.
That it's not a big deal to Pete. That it's something that is it's very personal and intimate, and something that Owen is scared about. That Pete just takes in stride because it's just another aspect of who Owen is. He's still going to make fun of the guy. It's still Owen. It doesn't matter. and if anything, that shows a greater respect for the character, and who that character is.
Yeah,
really
you're
well
still
said.
my friend. I'm not going to treat you any different because you're having a hard time. You're still my friend, which means you still get the same level of shit that everybody else does.
Right.
If I may say so, that is one of the things that really most attracted me to this world when I first auditioned way back for writing Frenzy earlier in my film career. Even then, the sides that these guys tend to give when you audition are a lot of a good chunk of that character's script, and I fell in love with it in the audition room. I fell in love with not just that. I fell in love with John as a character. I wanted him bad after I read those sides, but there's just the relationship between the characters. I think that in my mind, the heart of these films it's simply this. These are a bunch of characters who exist on the within pop culture, within nerd culture. They make their living in that world, but what their lives are really all about is about acceptance and true friendship and the meaning of that. There's always as long as everyone is willing to be good to each other, there's always acceptance even after falling out, no matter how bad it is. And there's always that kind of, we're all weird here. We're all weird. We're all mad here.
Yes.
And that's just part of the deal. That's part of why we're all in this special comic book store. That's part of why we're together. Is that the basic modus operandi is that we're all a little off, and we accept and love each other for that. Just stop hitting me.
There we go.
I was hitting Nate all the time.
That's how we work as producers, the four of us, in a way.
It's true. It's very true.
The hitting,
Sans the hitting. Yeah. We use our words to hurt each other.
Well, one of the things that
good-natured ball busting.
Good-natured ball busting.
One of the things I liked about this, because Eric introduced it as a nerd comedy, right? In the in a tribute to, and we had talked about it on the episode, the 80s nerd films, because nerd was hot and heavy at the box office. Revenge of the Nerds hit, and everybody was trying to capitalize on it, and nobody came really close after that to capturing what this world is. And they came up with the stereotypes and the tropes and everything that was in every film, but this is, I think you guys just laid it out. So when we go to Comic-Con, right, we have actors sitting right here. We have actors, we have actual producers, we have authors, we have a television host, we have people. I'm an 35-year IT expert. These are not typically construed as nerd type things. We all love comic books. We all love this kind of thing. We all have film and, creating in common. And I just, watching this, that was very forefront in my mind, watching Revenge of Zoe, was this is probably one of the finest, this is the real deal kind of depictions. Owning a comic book shop, you don't have to be completely detached from reality. You're running a business. You happen to be lucky enough to be running a business related to something you really dig. Like, I'm not going to lie, I have been fanboying over Jeff's Colonial Viper in the background there. Quite.
I was hoping you'd notice that.
Oh, absolutely.
Gorgeous.
And the old one, if I may say. So some of our listeners may know what that means, but because I used to have that toy as a kid.
I made that one myself. I made that myself as well. I will add.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
I didn't just buy that as an expensive pre-made one. Yeah, that's vintage from the 80s. From original Galactica merch.
Yes.
Original Battlestar Galactica.
But
Jim, you said that was a lovely compliment that you gave us. I really want to thank you for that. and it you really made my heart sing, because we love fandom. We're not doing a representation of what we as film producers think fandom might be like, which is what so much of Hollywood filmmaking is. We are fandom. We live in this world. We love this world. I'm a guest at comic book conventions often, and so we're. It's so meaningful to us to hear that kind of compliment, that it resonates truthfully with you, because we're not trying to give an impression of what we think it will be like. This is what we've all done this. Yeah. I mean, we all go to these cons, and we often talk about how these films probably wouldn't exist. Cliff touched on this earlier. If it wasn't for TUSCON, the Tucson Science Fiction Convention, which we've all been guests at many times, and we've become sort of fixtures at TUSCON, and we've become friends with the organizers, and they very graciously allowed us to film there at TUSCON 2019 for the sequel, for the Love Song of William H. Shaw sequel. Stuff. A big scene is actually at the convention with real con attendees. So you can't get more real than that. Than filming. We didn't stage the con. We filmed at the con.
We filmed at the con.
And something that we all said, we all had this feeling, was we kind of want it to feel like the end of Galaxy Quest when they have the convention. When there's that marvelous,
it does kind of feel like that
ending. Yeah. It feels very authentic, doesn't it? That con. When you watch Galaxy Quest, you don't look at it and go, "Oh, that's not what cons are like." You look at it and go, "That's exactly what cons are like." They nailed it. Yeah, in that film, which is one of the reasons I think everybody in fandom loves Galaxy Quest, because it's so spot on. And yes, it's sarcastic, and yes, it makes fun, but it makes fun in a loving way.
Yeah.
And I hope that we don't. I don't think we really make fun of fandom. I think we are fascinated by the quirks of fandom and the eccentricities of it, and the creative freedom and weirdness that allows you to have. And when I was a kid,
of it is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. When I was a kid, I would get dressed up in superhero costumes and go to some of the little proto cons in the 60s and 70s. And I tell you, cosplay was not a thing when I was a kid, and especially in England. And I mean, I get dressed up with my very poor attempts at Captain America or whatever, and go to these things, and I'll be walking down the street. You get these big, tough, like tattooed builders, like go, "Oh, look at that bloke. Look at that fairy. Look at that pansy. Oh, what are you doing wearing tights? Or you girl? Are you a ballet dancer? So the fact that this is now being embraced, that cosplay and fandom has been embraced, and it's no longer a fringe thing, is exciting. But it makes it perhaps a little bit more challenging to portray it accurately. And that has been a fundamental goal for us.
I have a question,
and lovingly.
I have a question for everybody to answer. So, involved going to cons and everything. Just real quick to frame this. So, we live in Wisconsin, and hardly anything has ever happened here. And then Wizard World did its first convention here in 2015 in Madison. And it was the first actual large-scale comic book convention, because our Comic-Cons have usually been a bunch of dealers who take cash only in a tiny antechamber at the Marriott, or
so it's like Oklahoma City.
Okay. Yeah. And there's just, they don't even talk. There's you can't even talk to anybody. There's just, we got boxes of comics, go through, find what you want, pay me what I'm asking, and get out.
The closest thing to it really is GaryCon, which is in Lake Geneva.
Yeah, down in Lake Geneva.
So we ran at Gen Con, by the way. This film ran at Gen Con. So we ran at an actual gaming convention, and I was very proud of it. I'm a huge D&D nerd from I'm first edition, second edition, third 3.5, fourth edition, fifth edition.
I started
every edition of D&D.
See, this is where I get to geek
Cliff
out.
And I started. We were just gamers, and then we started writing scripts from. It's like, if we put
took all these elements and just put it into a script
to make a story.
I started playing in 1976. I met Gary Gygax. I had no idea. I had no idea the magnitude of that moment, because I was 7.
Yeah.
And it was a play test thing down in Lake Geneva. And
we did a play test. Marty and I did a play test in Tucson.
Did you?
On a module on a D&D. We did a TSR play test, and it was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
Marty, it was amazing. Yeah.
Oh man. So started with the white pamphlets, before even basic rules, man. So we're in 5th edition now and all that. But anyway, I just want to bring this back to, so with the Wizard World Convention, it's obviously a bigger one and it's more celebrities than comic folk, right? And some of the shows don't even have comic ties that they bring celebrities in for. There's no like Marvel attachment. There's no independent, no Dark Horse, no nothing. With conventions, now that it has become like mainstream, everyone's cashing in on this. San Diego Comic-Con, figured it out first. Let's bring in these, A-list actors in these, tentpole films, and we're going to fill, amphitheaters for 7 blocks. What do you feel, if anything, is maybe starting to get chipped away from the authentic, this is our world, like in the film, this is our world, this is what we love. And, what's getting chipped away by these distractions of, hey, it's Robert Downey Jr. Well, yeah, he played Iron Man, but I bet he couldn't tell you the first fucking thing about who even made Iron Man, right? So you're going to have kind of an empty conversation with that, because we've talked to a number of people who showed up, like, Nichelle Nichols. I don't care if she has any concept of anything outside of her role as Uhura in terms of my world as a comic fan, but to be able to go up to her and not even get an autograph and just say, thank you, oh my God, thank you for your lifetime of giving to us of your talent and just everything, thank you. That makes it worthwhile. But for the most part, like, they have really been pushing. Last time we were there was oh shit, who was it? Wasn't Supernatural. I mean, they pushed The Walking Dead group shots, but there was another one that we're like, huh?
I don't remember.
Vampire Diaries.
Oh, you yelled that.
I know, because it surprises me that it was there. They charge so much money. But anyway, I know COVID has kind of like obviously changed the face of it, but I mean, have you felt like this monetization by studios and, them cluing into, geeks actually have cash and, kind of love this stuff. But I mean, do any of you feel like they're kind of taking it too far?
Ones.
Yes.
No, I think it also has to do with. It's funny. I'm opposed to everybody else. I think it has a lot to do with there's not as much money in show business as there used to be, and people need to come out and do conventions and make money by doing autographs and stuff. But that's mostly all the big cons have gotten taken over. But that happens with anything. You always got to be looking for the new, smaller thing that's coming up. That's why I prefer the smaller cons like Tucson that keep it more intimate. And if I go to one of the big ones like Phoenix Comic-Con or something, I'm totally expecting to be into that. Well, this is more of a mass market pop culture insanity. And in that respect, they kind of have taken that over. But just stick to the smaller ones if you want that better community. They're more fun anyways, I think.
I mean, I like the big cons. I'm glad I went to one, but sitting outside for 2.5 hours, or 4.5 hours to wait on Bruce Campbell or Nathan Fillion is not my jam. I'm not doing that.
I've been both a fan and a speaker at both kinds of cons, and I've done cons since I was a little kid, and had, when I was a kid, it was mostly smaller cons, and that because they were what existed. But they were wonderful experiences that still stick with me. I think, though, there's a place for both. I do think it is very important that we support our smaller regional cons because they struggle to stay afloat in the wake of the bigger conventions, and they really are important for that community feeling. They really are important for that more one-on-one interaction with creators, and for discovery of new things. That being said, and I'm desperately passionate about that. I advise a con even, but that being said, I do think that there's a lot of good that comes out of the bigger cons as well, and the proliferation of smaller conventions. There are positives and negatives to anything, including fan culture. And the media recently has really brought out a lot of the negative aspects of some things that can be part of fan culture because humans are involved. What I think we see, and what attracts me to films like Revenge of Zoe and wants to make me participate in them, is that we see a realistic view of people who live within fan culture and are not, as you said, just caricatures, and yet they try really hard to exude the positive part, the best of fan culture. Those people in the stories try to be the best in fan culture, and that's what's the joyful part of it, is that big or small, I think that one of the best parts of the proliferation of large conventions and the growth of many, many, many smaller conventions rather than just a handful at the beginning is that more people can admit that they love this stuff freely and not feel badly about it, not feel like they're the other person. More people can step out, the quote stereotypical popular football player type or cheerleader type, if you want to, whatever, can step into a con and nerd out, and it's okay. It's actually very acceptable, and they can expand their world, expand their horizons, and let a part of themselves live that wasn't before, that they weren't able to see. And I know this from talking to friends who are a bit older than I, and were attending cons since they were a germ of a thing, talking to me about the way that it changed, where they would have to hide that they had a sci-fi book, to the point where they can openly proclaim their love for really amazing creative worlds, and then talk in an intellectual or an artistic way about things with other people who share similar passions, get to know them, become friends, and connect in a real way. And that's really what the best of fandom is, as well as, I think it is also important. It's very, very, very hard to make a living as an artist. Very, very hard. So if there is a place where you can go to sell your wares, if there's a place where you can connect with people who really really want to see you, I mean, you realize there are people who have big fan bases within nerddom, and the rest of the world doesn't know exist. They have a place where they can go where it's possible to generate revenue because people love their work. And that's what an artist and patron relationship is really all about, is that if you love the work of an artist and you support it, the artist is able to continue making art and survive and do a better job at their art because they can focus more of their time, attention, and energies on that art. So
watch our movie on Tubi TV.
Well, there's that. Yeah, definitely watch our movie on Tubi TV and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But I think these big and small cons have great value, and it's all about what you come into them with, and it's all about the preconceptions you come into them with. And like in any grouping of human beings, there's going to be positive and negative. Go there and be a positive,
right?
And find the other people who are going to do that, and turn, and make that the experience, and encourage other people to make that the experience. And it's there. People generally, I believe, go to these conventions with the intention of just enjoying what they love with other people who love it. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because with this podcast, we keep telling people, find your tribe. And we've talked about, go to places. So like I'm an actor, and I go to a comic book convention, and, not everything you do in life should be thinking of networking and, doing all this. But, I have a good chance. So I run into Bradford and Nathan and you, and, just kind of talk about stuff, because we're looking at, a small publisher's or an independent, this guy, because when we go, we love to look for the people who have like 3, they got 3 books. That's it, 3 graphic novels. And we're like, okay, well, give me all 3 of them, because, that's how you're going to get your 4th.
Right.
And we share it with people. Right. So we get talking, and not only do we get to share, our passion for what's going on here, but now that kind of gives us in as, yeah, I'm doing this and that. Bradford might be like, hey, you know what? Interestingly enough, I got some guys who are putting this thing together, and we don't have an audition list yet. So tell you what, here, let me write this down. Give me a call next week, or give this guy a call and say, I told him to call you. All these magical things can happen from just being
it
you.
Does happen.
And, share all of that stuff. And I think Revenge of Zoe, it really captures that by presenting people as people. No stereotypes, no tropes. Katie is not this militaristic, out of control, anger management type woman. She's just like, enough of the shit. All right. I got
By
work
the
to
way,
do.
that character is greatly expanded in Love Song of William H. Shaw. I don't want to give up any of the the plot twists, but yeah, no, there's some really, she does some really nice work in that, and I don't want to, it's so close to giving up secrets, but let's just say there's some great chemistry with one character in particular who might be here today, that really, I think that our wonderful writers saw the the gold in that character and brought it out, and yeah.
I mean, Olivia too. Sorry, Jeff was.
No, go ahead, Cliff.
Was, I don't know. I mean, either we're doing something right or we just got lucky. But Bradford and Nate and Julie, who plays Sarah, and Katie, who plays Olivia, they are very protective of their characters, and they're very much like, that is me. Don't screw with that. Be very careful with it. Olivia was calling us, telling us that she had special shirts made for her part that she was going to wear, and wanted to get pre-approval for them, and how should she do her hair, and she's doing other things, and then Nate's like,
I love that.
I want to kind of have my hair longer. I've got these different generic shirts I'd like to wear. Can I use those? They're all very protective. Bradford's very protective of Billy to a certain extent. I mean, he's just, and like I said, from second movie to this last movie, he just owns the character.
Nice.
He owns it.
I do want, if I may, I do want to also say that while everyone loves the work that Bradford did in Revenge of Zoe, I have worked with Bradford briefly before, and I've seen his other work, and I just want to say, when the next film comes out, I do believe that is Bradford's finest work to date.
Well, there you. Wow.
Wow.
Agreed.
Let's talk a little bit about this film.
Thanks.
That is going to be coming eventually, because the madness will end and the plague will subside and the shores will be revealed once more as the tides give us purchase on Earth, and you can finish filming so we can all watch this thing.
I think you're just trying to tempt Eric into giving away secrets.
No. I don't want to give away secrets. I don't want to know secrets. You know how
I'm the wrong person to tempt. I don't give them up.
Good.
You got to talk to others.
Give us like the log line. Give us just a rundown if whoever wants to, or
don't spoil Revenge of Zoe, but don't spoil Revenge of Zoe.
Yeah, Marty can give you a rundown without too much, I think, spoiler.
I mean, it's basically what I've said in other interviews without really, like you said, the log line. What is it about? It's like, well, it's a few years later, and now Billy's got to write another script. But John and Pete don't like each other anymore.
Oh.
Because fame has gone to their head.
Ooh.
So now Billy has to get them to make up. And that's your basic premise.
The perversion of success. I love that slant. I love that arc. That's
We've
always
also
fun.
really upped the ante with the new film. Yes. So from my perspective, I joined the production team very late with Revenge of Zoe, just a few days before we started, very shortly before we started filming. And I have an art direction background and graphic design and photography, and so I said to the guys, "Oh, do you mind if can I fix that poster, and can I?" And they go, "Do you want to dress the set? Do you just want to go?" So I then started doing the comic designs and things we already talked about as we were going into it. But for Love Song of William Shaw, I had months to prepare, and it's much more involved. And that is also true of our crew. So we use better cameras, we have more sophisticated sound. We've tried to increase the quality and the level of the film in every way. And although whether or not we can top the soundtrack of Revenge of Zoe, I don't know yet. But I'm working on it. So we are
Love Songs in 4K, which is awesome. It'll be in 4K, so it'll look great.
Nice.
And we've got permission from a pretty major bands that you probably would all have heard of, to use anything from their back catalog, and several of our artists from the Revenge of Zoe soundtrack signed on and said, "Yeah, we'd love to work with you again." So, from my personal perspective, I've had all this time to prepare, and the marvelous and endless encouragement from my fellow producers and the other cast and crew to really go with it. And I wanted to really fill this film with comics and books and images, artwork, Easter eggs, things that have been created. Especially, I will say that we're all big Philip K. Dick fans.
Yes.
There are a lot of Philip Dick references in this film.
Just everywhere.
Yeah.
There's also a massive increase in cameos. Multiple times the Nerd World celebrity cameos and some returning ones. And that was a joy. They're all over the film, and which is very cool. I
want to touch. If I can bounce back just for a second to something Jim said, which I felt was really important, and then we come back to Love Song, but it's relevant too. Jim, you were talking about how magic happens when you network with people. Mm-hmm. How going to the conventions and you see Bradford and there's an audition. I'd love to do that. Well, that's not only has that's happened to us multiple times in my own story as well. Just being asked to do this cameo, and then it blossomed into what I've said to anyone who will listen has been the most fulfilling film or television experience of my entire life is working with these three wonderful guys on this film, and not only being allowed to do the things that we're good at, but being encouraged and not having supervision. So there's no adult supervision on this. They go, you want a soundtrack? Go get 14 bands.
Yeah, there's no lifeguard. Let us know. There's no lifeguard on duty at this pool.
Right.
I love it.
Let us know what you come up.
You had better know how to fucking swim.
But there's a very specific illustration of this that I want to bring up. So years ago, Eric and I were at the Tucson comic book convention that's run by our great friends Mike and Teresita Olivares. And I mean, talk about fandom. This is a labor of love. This wonderful local couple have grown this from a small indie con to a major convention that has big stars. But to reference what you were saying, it's kept that very local, homegrown, friendly feel, even though it's grown into a big event. It's still, because this is Tucson and things are kooky here, and this is the Tucson comic book convention. This is not like the other ones.
Yep.
So years ago, Eric and I were there. We're walking around the floor. We were guests. We were doing a panel, and Eric goes, "Oh, there's my friend David Pike." So we went over, and there's a nice gentleman set up there. He's got a table with a lot of indie films on it, and we got talking. And he's an indie film distributor. And I go, I'm really impressed that he's there with the table. He's selling stuff. And I go, well, how about recommend some films to me? Would you get a special? It's like 5 DVDs for $20 or whatever. I go, pick out 5 films for me then. He goes, what do you like? And I go, sci-fi, indie, punk rock, weird, off the grid, whatever, different, anti-establishment, doesn't fit the box. I don't know. Pick 5 good films that you like. So he did. So I brought them home, liked all 5 of those films. And I called Eric later and I go, that guy, David Pike that we met, I really like that guy. Every one of the films he recommended to me was super. I really want to work with that guy. I don't know what, but one day, I just want to work with him. And then some years went by and I was executive producer of Dream Dangerously, which is the Neil Gaiman documentary. And the director and DP reached out to me after it had a video release.
Watch it, buy it.
Oh, thanks. So Jordan Rennert and Patrick Meany. And great team.
Seriously, I do have to say there's at least one scene in that documentary as an artist. We were watching a screening of that at the Tucson Science Fiction Convention, where Jeff and I met, I might add. And I was there standing next to, I don't think she'd mind me saying, Sarah Marasola, who's one of my favorite actresses who I've worked with multiple times. And there's a particular scene in that documentary where Neil says something about being an artist, and we both welled up with tears. It was beautiful.
Nice. True. I witnessed it. So Jordan Rennert, who was the DP on Dream Dangerously, the Neil Gaiman story, called me and he said, I really want to do a hard media release for the fans. Do you think you could help me? And I said, yeah, I agree. I'd love to do a hard media release for the fans also. So I called David Pike and I go, I know we don't really know each other really well, but I've got this film that I worked on and I think it'd be a good fit for you. And so he reached out to Vimeo. They made a deal to license for hard media. They did an absolutely exquisite job releasing it on Blu-ray. Nice. Just beautiful art. I got Neil to sign some copies. They did an auction for charity. It was all good. Everything was good. It's one of those rare things in film where at the end of it, you go, God, I'm so glad I worked with those people. Yeah. It almost never happens,
Yeah.
And so then when Zoe was done, I said to the guys, why don't we talk to David? He did a smoking job on Dream Dangerously. And so we pitched it to him. So David Pike, the gentleman that I randomly met at the comic book convention and said, I like that guy, is our distributor for Revenge of Zone. It's exactly what you were saying, Jim. That happens when you go out and you engage with fandom and you open your heart to fandom and you are present and you talk to people and you find out what they like and ask for their recommendations and listen to them and go, hey, maybe we can do something together one day. And look, not only did we get released, but David also put Revenge of Zoe into the Arizona Underground Film Festival, which was a dream come true for Marty and Cliff, having worked here in Tucson for many years. So there's magic in fandom, and we try to put that magic into our films.
And there's an extra weird footnote to that story too, Jeff. David Pike, he was a fan of Cliff and I's public access show from 30 years ago.
Oh my God.
Really?
He's been following us around for a while.
He's been following us for a long time.
So it just all kind of
comes full
up
circle
like that. It's crazy.
I
Another good
know
example
that.
of these type of stories you're saying, this is a brief one. We were at Tucson a few years ago. Timothy Zahn was a guest of honor. And Nate was just like, oh my God, that's the guy who made Thrawn and all this. Well, yeah, it's cool. You know, I go over and talk to him. And then they went over and started talking about the movie. And then Nate's like, hey, man, you want to be in our movie? And he's like, sure. And that's why Timothy Zahn is in the movie, because
Nate Campbell recruited Timothy Zahn. Yeah, that is a true story.
Awesome.
Most excellent.
I got to pick him up at the airport. Everybody else was busy. And we go, and it was a hot day, and we go, good God. So we flew Tim in to do the shoot specially. And we go, good God. He goes, I'll just take a taxi. I go, good God, Tim Zahn's flying in to be in our film. We're not going to let him take a taxi. So I drove down. So I called one of my Star Wars friends on the way. I'm driving down to the airport. I go, this is going to be really good. So I call one of my friends. She goes, oh, what are you doing? And I go, not much, driving down to the airport. Oh, you're not traveling, are you? Go, no, I'm just going to pick up someone at the airport. Oh, yeah, who's that? I go, I'm just going down to the airport to pick up Timothy Zahn.
Oh my God.
She goes, what? And I go, she goes, seriously? And I go, no, seriously, I'm going to the airport to pick up Timothy Zahn because he's doing a cameo in our film. And then when we're all Mandalorian fans, and when Admiral Thrawn was mentioned in that Mandalorian episode, so my head almost exploded.
God, yes.
I said, wait, the guy who invented Admiral Thrawn, the real person, is in our movie.
Yes.
And he's so good. He's so good. And he's in William Shaw too. He's returned to do another cameo.
Yes.
A very good
Spoiler.
cameo.
He is a sweet man.
That is awesome.
Talk about fandom. See, we're fans of the people that are in our films.
That's like the best. We need to start closing this, unfortunately. One thing we typically, pretty much every episode we end with, is encouraging people, do your thing. Make your thing. Make your film, make your script, make your music, make your art, whatever, even if it's crap. I mean, we all know, you look at something and you're like, Jesus Christ, that came out of me? Ugh. But revel in that it came out of you, because that's going to go to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And the next thing you know, you are living a fulfilling life doing the thing you want to do. Whether or not it's the only thing you do, because you got to work a day job, it's do it anyway. And with all this panel here, I'm going to go down my list of video windows here. So Nathan, you're up first. If you had just a quick line for folks, be it actor, writer, whatever, what is one thing you would say to encourage somebody who is either just starting or may have hit that lull, where it's like, ugh, is this worth it? And they just kind of, what would you say to get them going?
And I've been there so much myself. That's a tough thing to ask. I'd say something like, you're going to kick yourself more if you don't. It's so hard to get the ball rolling. So hard to get that boulder of creativity rolling. But once it's rolling, it will keep rolling. The momentum will be there. It's just, you got to get the momentum going. And sometimes that's the hardest part, but just get a big lever and it'll do it.
I love that. I don't think I've heard, I've not even thought of that way, and how much you'll kick yourself later for not, trying to do it. I love that. Jeff, you're next.
The most important thing, and I say this for everyone who's listening, who's interested, and I say it for myself because I wrestle with this. You must do what you think is good. Don't create stuff that you think other people might like. Don't tailor your work. Don't go, oh, I'm going to tone that down, or oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, thinking about the end product. That doesn't work. The great auteurs, the great creators that we love and admire from all eras didn't do that.
Right.
They did what they thought was good and important. And if you do your own work and you believe in it, the other stuff will come if there's merit in it. But if you tailor your work to what you think public taste might be, you'll never know if you were any good because it won't have been your work. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're good anyway, as long as you get a return out of it, is you get to feed your creative heart. And that's one of the most important things in life. Having been as a child of the punk rock movement and having delighted in rocking the boat and doing things that were not proper, it is important that you care about your work, and everybody else's opinion is secondary.
I've mentioned that before.
That.
Yeah, Sid Vicious didn't get to where he was because, but we've said often, we're going to be doing this until we're dead, and whether or not we sell a script is irrelevant, because I would rather sit with a garage full of boxes of look at all of that I did, and I didn't let anything stop me. It's not so much the success as just doing it. Although I don't think anyone's going to deny
I don't think anyone would ever complain about being successful.
A little bit of success is nice, But
I also really believe that if you do it, things will come. This goes back to what we were talking about.
We've been
you
close.
Saying putting yourself out there at conventions and us telling the David Pike story. You put yourself into situations where things can happen. You form relationships with people. You look at other people's work. You show them your work. Good things will come out of it.
It will. And you
may not win an Oscar, but something will happen.
But we've done just what you said, is we've been close. We've, talked to producers and stuff, and it always comes down to it needs to be more like this. And we've kind of, kicked ourselves or cut our ladder short by saying, well, no, it doesn't need to fucking be like that, because, this isn't a CW show that I'm talking about. This is something that, we have our lines in the sand, and it's a tough thing because we've had talks like, should we just create some foof? No, no, one day it'll happen. So yeah, I love that. I
good.
Think
and I've been under pressure. I've been under massive network pressure to buckle, to do fake reality stuff. And I just said no. Good. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say it was an inch away from coming to blows. It got very heated at times.
I think we need to have another episode just on that.
Oh, yeah. Anytime. I love you guys. This is great.
I'm just away for 1 second, but I'll be back.
Do we have a door call?
We have a daughter waiting to come into the building. Okay.
Go right ahead. Well, Bradford.
Yeah.
What's your words of wisdom here? Or pain?
I would just piggybacking on what everyone said. I totally agree, and I think there's people can get blocked from taking those first steps because
lost Bradford,
and now it turns.
Now it turns.
Whatever that is, and really,
Bradford,
it's just
we couldn't hear you there. Can you start again?
I think his signal outside is.
I would say, do you hear me now? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I would say that. Sorry about that. So basically, I would say just taking those first steps to get yourself there, and don't compare yourself to other people who have success or are better or talented, whatever that. It's just important for you to take those steps and do it out of the joy that you feel in your heart. And like Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. It will lead you to the right places.
I love it. Excellent. Thank you. Cliff, you're next on the line. What have you got from your perspective? Especially from a producer's standpoint. We didn't really ever, in talking with people, like with Alex Cox as producer and director, so we got more on the director bit. From a producer's standpoint, someone wants to say, okay, I'm going to start a production company. You know, we did just so we could attach this podcast to it. So we can say this podcast is owned by a property. Right. We're not just here drinking beers for 30 minutes a night. We're actually trying to do something. But you know, that we've talked to folks who are like, man, I would love to like make some films, you know, sort of production company. And, you know, but what does a producer do? Kind of thing. So
not much, honestly. I mean, Jeff works.
Funny, Cliff.
He's an art director. Eric, not much. He's busy reading lines. Marty and I carry every load. I mean, it's awful. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. You know, here's what I would say. If you're going to start a production company, if you're going to make movies, if you're going to do a string of projects, or if you're going to do, like, if you're going to be in a band, you're going to make music, you're going to do an album and then another album and then another album, or you're going to write books, or you're going to do comic books, anything where you're going to do things in a series, or you're going to continue to do them, you're going to have these peaks and valleys where there's a lot going on and there's a lot of attention on you and there's people talking about what's going on, and then that ends because the movie has a life, the product has a life to a certain point. You know, people will find it and carry it on and like it, but you know, there's a certain point where either you say, okay, this has gone far enough, I'm ready to move on to something else, or the crowd says, this was great, but we're ready for something else. And in that point, you hit this valley. You know, making a movie is like pushing a snowball up a mountain, right? Like you get behind it and you start pushing it, and it's real small at first, but it starts to accumulate snow. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets harder to push up the hill. But at one point, you get it over the crest of the hill, and then it gets even worse because now it's rolling downhill without you, and you've got to run to keep up with it, right? So it's deceptive. You think all the work's done. When you get to the top, it rolls down, and you go, oh, Jesus, and it's even harder to keep up with it. And so, but eventually it comes to a point where it kind of settles in the valley, and you go, well, now what? And the answer is make another snowball and start pushing it up the hill, dude. So it's, you know, you really have to not get stuck in the valleys of sort of lethargy and letting yourself think it's over with, or that, oh, nobody paid attention to that one, so what do I do now? Well, write a freaking sequel, you know, write something else, make something else. I mean, that's what we did. You know, okay, well, that was pretty decently received. Yeah. What now? Well, write a sequel. Let's move on. Let's try something else, right? So don't be fooled by, you know, the inactivity. Stay working, you know, stay writing, stay creating. And look out for those like-minded people around you, because the more you do it, the more like-minded people are going to be attracted to you, kind of just through the magneticism of what you're doing. You know, I like that. I want to be a part of that.
Excellent. I like that. Marty, what do you have for us?
Well, nothing ever comes out perfect right away. Like you were saying earlier, you write stuff and you're like, oh, it's terrible. Don't let that discourage you. It's not going to be gold immediately. You have to keep at it. Do not get discouraged of yourself. You know, outlast, outwit, outplay. You have to be endurance in this. You know, a lot of people will be like, oh, make a movie or whatever. That's easy. That's fun. They try it out and they get instantly discouraged. Those people will fall off, and you will still be there, and you will win by default because you never stopped. Just by your longevity will eventually get you somewhere. And also another important thing is when putting a group together, be sure that you're picking the people that you want to spend the time in the submarine with, because you're going to be in the submarine with them. And if you're not gelling, there's going to be some head knocking.
We have discussed that at length on several episodes, because in 2014, we met some people and decided to, you know, form a film group. And we came up with some ideas for little shorts to act like as a business card. You know, look what we can do. And so we wrote something that was silly, and everyone's like, oh, we like that one. Let's do that one. Also because it's like cheap. Well, we did it for free. I mean, the only person who got paid was the sound guy, and my sound recording was way better than his anyway. So that was a lesson learned. But everything fell apart as soon as the director, who we made the mistake of thinking, well, these people know way more than we do, so we don't really have any input. Then we started seeing rough cuts come back, like, whoa, what happened here? You know, a lot of problems. And yeah, that obviously never went anywhere. I've got all the files. One day I've pretty much given up on it, because like, I don't know. I just want to be a writer, man.
I mean, I think that sort of thing probably happens a lot.
It does happen a lot. And he was just talking about, the whole, pick your submarine crew because you're going to be in there. And that's that one experience has wizened us to the point where we've become basically like assholes in looking at everything. We talked to, I'm not going to mention his name, but we talked to a DC illustrator because we want to do a graphic novel based on our pilot for a series. And because we've had multiple producers say, man, if you had an IP, I could sell this, but it's so expensive, nobody's going to take it. We're like, all right, so we'll do a graphic novel. And we got super close, but then this person was like, well, maybe, I think it should be like this. I think it should be like that. No, I'm going to shoot that idea down. And then he stopped talking to us. We're like, cool. All right, move on.
Well, and I think that's a little different than collaborating.
I was going to say, you can't. We're very careful about not shutting off collaboration, and I think that's why our sets are so open and why people enjoy working with us. And again, you choose like-minded people, but when I go to Jeff and I say, "Here's what I want," and Jeff goes, "Okay, that's it." And Jeff goes and does that, and he'll come back and say, "I can't give you this, but I've got two options," and I'll say, "Okay, this one." I remember one of the things the first time he was on set with us. He brought 3 wardrobe choices. And he was like, I'm not sure which one you want. So I brought a few choices. And I said, let me see this. Let me see with that. Let me see with that. No, I want this with that and that. And I walked away. And and I thought I'd pissed him off because he had a weird look on his face. And he turned to, I think it was Eric, and said, I've never worked with a director who knew exactly what he wanted and just said it and walked away. And I was like, what the hell else are you supposed to do? Like, I mean, what's the option there? I don't know. Maybe could be sort of you figure it out and walk away. I mean, if you ask, I'm going to tell you.
Well, collaboration. I mean, we've grouped that in with like if as a writer you need to, you need to get kicked in the nuts 1,000 times because that's how you become a writer. And you going into it, you have to be braced for it. And that's the thing with collaboration is you're going to hear things that you don't agree with, but we found that opening up to collaboration is a quick and easy way to identify whether or not that person is part of the crew, where they're coming from and how they react to your, but see, this is sort of like the foundation of the story. So maybe we could do this. And then they're just like a 2-year-old. Then this isn't part of your group, because even we disagree. As we're writing stuff, we're like, I think it should be, it should be like this, it should be like that. And so we'll do the old, all right, to tell you what, let's write it this way. And let's get to the next 2 scenes, and then let's go back and see how it flows. And then let's do it the other way.
Never do that.
Never. And my last point on that is, it's not to say that these people that you don't vibe with are bad people or anything. They're going to find the people that they vibe with, and you're going to find the people that you vibe with. So you just don't get discouraged and keep searching.
Well, and my lesson for everybody is just feel confident in yourself. Don't let your future fall on somebody else because you think they have more experience or more knowledge or something. You're a creator. You're all creators. Doesn't matter who's been at it for how long and who's accomplished what or not accomplished what. Everyone is here. So you have as much of a voice as anybody else. And don't be afraid to use that. And then from there, everything starts falling into place. Makes it much easier.
And don't be afraid to be critical of your work. I mean,
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, Revenge went through 43 drafts before we got it to where we were ready to shoot it. So, it's quite a few drafts, and some of that was major changes. When we shopped it to Eric and Jeff at first, Jeff had some major issues with it and begged us to tell. He was like, "Guys, look, I think the magic of part of this is this, and I think you may be detracting from that by doing this. Really take a look at this." And he was right. In the end, when we looked at it, we went, Jesus, he's right. We need to make some changes here.
I think that was particularly during the love song conversation.
Yes, it's exactly what it was.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right.
It was invaluable to get that feedback.
Yes, sir.
Not intentionally, but your last going from right to left in the window.
That's quite all right.
And I know we've had some words of encouragement from you previously, but what, especially between now and then, is there anything that's you've added to that, or even the same old,
sure.
same old?
I mean, I think I'm always I try to learn all the time, and so I always also try to have a lot of self introspection so that I'm better. And I think actually that's one thing I want to, considering what everyone else has said. I think one piece that I can add to this is or a couple of pieces really that tie together is one. get to know yourself really well. I see a lot of people who get into arts and they say, I want to be a major star, but they haven't really taken into consideration what that means, how you get there, what the process is, what's required of you, and and what you would have to sacrifice in order to reach a certain point, a certain level. And oftentimes it's because they're in a fantasy at that moment. There is absolutely nothing wrong with, and I highly encourage people, everyone who finds that this is the space that they are in, to work the arts for the pure joy of it and the pure expression of it, not necessarily as a professional endeavor. Yet, and I mean, I think that is extremely important. Everyone should have some kind of an artistic expression and to share it. That being said, if you find that you, after some introspection, believe that you would like to pursue something professionally, learn about it a lot. And in addition to what everyone else has said about finding your tribe, about learning how to collaborate, about figuring out, about having confidence in yourself, and more, including the things I've said in the past about that. I think that that it's also important, if you're going to make an artistic expression, that you work very hard at it to give it the best you're capable of at that moment. And if you're going to approach it as a profession, be the damn best you possibly can. You don't have to be you don't have to meet someone else's mold. You're you. But be the best you possibly can. Understand how the particular arts industry that you're getting into works. Learn it as best you can. Learn what the process normally is before you adapt. And then adapt from there, and be respectful of other people's journey within the arts, whatever that might be. I have friends who I worked with in small theaters who I tried to bring over to the film side, and some of them said to me, I really don't want to do that. I like performing in a tiny little theater in a small community for a select group of audiences who enjoy my work, and then I go home and have my normal life. That ain't me. But I think it's beautiful that it's them, and that they know that they're not pining for something else when they know that they're happy making their art the way they make their art. I, on the other hand, I'm a type A plus personality. I have huge ambition, and I intend for my art to go as far as possible. And I know that requires a great deal of me, which I'm prepared to give. Because I know what it is. And then I work really, really, really damn hard to be really, really damn good at it. And I continuously try to improve and be aware and self-criticize in a positive way. So that's where I think the counterbalance to a lot of this is, once you understand what you want to be, which can take some time, you might have to get into it for a while and work the art to see really what aspect of it you want, whether you just want to, do it, for lack of better words, for fun and expression, or you want to go for it as a real profession. And then, but whatever that is, still give it your damn best. Even if it's just for your own friends and family, 20 years from now, someone in your family could pick up that book you've written that you never really released and go, wow, this is really great. This means something to me. So put the time and the effort into it to give it the best you can. And then maybe you want to, release for the world, then do your damnedest. That's where discipline, training, focus, and real dedication become extremely important.
Excellent. Well, man, I tell you, anyone listening to this episode doesn't come out of this supercharged.
Right?
I mean, even if it's like grab a crayon and start writing on the kitchen wall, just, I'm going to get this going.
Do something.
Yeah, yep. Get out there and do it. Gentlemen, I've got to say, this has been a huge honor for us to have all of you, especially at once, on here. And I do hope we can do this again. And I'm absolutely going to start hitting people up when, what is the name of the sequel?
The love song of William H. Shaw.
William H. Shaw.
We're taking that from we're taking a riff off of the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock.
Okay.
Got it. So yeah, we're gonna be pounding on your doors when that comes out. Definitely.
Good.
If
Yeah,
not before, because,
we'd love to have you see it, and we'd love to hear what you think about it. And, if you ever want any of us on, we're always available. I mean, we don't have lives or anything. We do movies, and that's about it. So.
Yeah, we could grab
Jeff has a life. He's super famous, but the rest of us,
we could easily grab 6 other cast members, and you could do a whole alternate podcast about Revenge of Zoe.
Yeah, we get all try and get all the ladies and see if they'll.
I would
Have a
love
episode.
to. Yeah, I would love to get.
I mean, it would be really cool if you could get Julie, Christina, Olivia, and Sarah all together on a Zoom call to do an all ladies version of this. I'll pull whatever strings I can to get that done. That would be really, really neat.
I tell you what, send my email out to them.
Okay.
And say I would, absolutely love to arrange something with them. That would be fantastic.
I think that would be great. All female cast, all female audition, all female.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. Great episode.
Absolutely. We got the guys on. Let's get the ladies.
Yes.
And get the real stories.
I'll tell you.
All right.
You know it. That's a super idea.
Everyone. And Rachel too.
Yeah.
We always keep forgetting Rachel, but Rachel too. So I mean, there's 5 right there that hopefully we can bring to the table for you.
Awesome. I don't forget Rachel. She's right behind me. She's right behind. I just look at your screen. She's right behind me.
I just noticed that the
blouse
or shirt that Danny's wearing is the same color as Frenzy's outfit.
That's right.
On my screen, they're next to each other. And Danny, was that an intentional choice?
It was
that
not
one of those cosmic coincidences?
No, here's the thing. Okay. So we mentioned earlier that we're D&D nerds. And so usually we play on Saturday with our group, and Jim and I alternate DMing, right? But we both have DM shirts. And this Saturday we don't happen to be playing, and so we both wore our shirts, right? So mine says, that's what I do. I master the dungeon and I know things.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's a Game of Thrones reference
the dungeon
there.
And I know things.
And he's wearing his DM shirt, and I think his says, because I'm the DM, that's why.
Yep.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah. I'm looking for my giant foam D20 dice from PAX, but I can't seem to find it. Big, massive. It's as big as my head. It's a giant.
We've got an inflatable one. We did
fantastic.
A couple of years ago, our daughter's birthday party. We've been doing themes, and we did a D&D theme. So we got this giant inflatable D20, and her and her friends would roll it, and I played every. Sorry about that, folks. We had a slight technical glitch. We lost about 70 seconds. So we just briefly talked about rolling big dice, because, that's what we do. And Jeff was just jumped into a quick story about a theater experience, and we'll just kind of let it roll with that. It'll have to remain a mystery.
Around at me like, is that guy actually dying in the cinema? So
that guy's mushrooms just kicked in.
well, Billy Shaw would know all about that, wouldn't he?
He would indeed.
Well, that movie is a big influence on that driving sequence. So.
Yeah, actually, in the script it says a la of that flavor. We that movie is referenced in the script as we want it to be like this. So
we wanted that bizarre off-kilter rear projection looking as they're driving down the road type look.
So you guys will enjoy this. You can hear the crinkling.
Yeah.
From me. This was a gift that Jim gave to me a couple of years ago, but it's the 2 issues of the Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Wow,
that's Fear and Loathing was published.
Yeah, that's the one where is that the article where he actually went to the bike rally, right? That's where he decided to start writing the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Danny, I think he's a keeper. I would hold on to him. I think those are worth a few bucks.
You can find anything if you do a little searching.
True.
A little reaching out. Yeah. So yeah. And, so with our D&D shirts, the whole thing is when I'm DMing,
I'm not allowed to wear my shirt.
Well, nobody's allowed to wear a DM shirt. That is the surest way to get your character killed and remove you from the game. I am not going to have a power struggle while I'm running a world.
It's called a grudge monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Oh, man. So, guys, this has been fantastic. And I do hope we get to talk again in either groups or one-on-ones. We're open too. I mean, if there's something you guys want to, like talk about, and we're happy to do it because our listeners, I mean, this is like, free college for them. You can read the books and stuff, you can take the classes, but really just hearing people, and
then going out and doing the stuff.
And it's just, I think it's just much more tangible in the brain, and it's kind of a real deal thing. So I want to thank you for giving us so much of your time on this, for us, this rather crappy weather Saturday, but I'm sure you guys are enjoying something a little better than we are.
It's easily over 100 here.
I must say one other thing, Jim. I nearly forgot this, but I have to take you to task on one thing, which is you said nothing ever happened in Wisconsin, and that is not true, because we filmed an episode of Meteorite Men in Wisconsin when we were searching for the famous Mifflin Fireball
Link in the show notes.
2009.
Yeah,
and I went to Wisconsin many times. We actually went more times to finish that episode than any other one. So I've seen Wisconsin in every season. And we got some feedback on the episode one time. Somebody posted something on, I don't know, one of the forums. They go, "Oh, this episode's fake. You can tell that the foliage is different in different scenes." And I messaged back and I go, "Yeah, we worked on that episode for like a year. We had to keep going back. It's not secret. It was a pain in the ass."
Oh man.
Anyway, I loved Wisconsin. I had great times.
It's nice, but we always refer to it as the belly button of nowhere because, TV is in New York and, in stage, and LA's got, cinema. And it's like, the further inland you go, it's just like everyone just loses interest. And then by the time you get to like Wisconsin, everyone's just like, I just don't give a shit. I don't want to do anything. I'm not interested in filming.
Well, I don't know. You'll have to reevaluate, because we went there to film Meteorite Men.
It's like a more boring Minnesota, which is saying a lot.
Yep. I love those. All right. Well, gentlemen, again,
thank you so much.
Listeners,
I love your chopsticks.
Yeah.
I'm just holding up lightsaber chopsticks right now for those listening.
Nice.
Listeners, we will have links to all kinds of stuff in the show notes, by now, to check those. So please do that, because these guys have bodies of work that you need to see. And last week we told you, watch Revenge of Zoe. So do your things. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Until next time.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have to say, that was just the most fun. I think that was our best interview yet.
Certainly the first time with so many people.
Yes.
And what a group of people. I would not have guessed it would have been that much fun.
Yeah.
And folks, we did talk for quite a bit.
We did.
After the end here, because we were just all having so much fun. And we're all like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go. And then say, I got one more thing I want to talk about. Or I got a story I want to tell. And yeah, it was magnificent. This was a truly fantastic group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And we were so fortunate. And that Eric got Jeff Notkin to come on.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was the surprise. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now we're all, best friends on Twitter. And
there was like a machine gun.
Just like a storm of Twitter follows
and follow back. And so we're not going to talk a lot about what was discussed. A lot of great things were brought up. They had some excellent advice, some great stories.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing is, listen to it again, folks. Just in case you missed something, we are working on getting the women,
the ladies
of Revenge of Zoe together.
I'm really excited about that.
So we can balance it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll invite one of the guys and then give them the wrong date, just a little payback for bringing that up.
That seems mean-spirited. Maybe I'll give you the wrong date.
I'm the engineer, so you can sit in here as long as you want in the dark.
Give yourself the wrong date and give me the right date.
I can't work like that.
Anyway.
So
yeah, lots of fun. I'm so tickled because I love doing these.
Oh yeah. And a lot of stuff that's going to come after. So we did talk like for almost 20 minutes before we started the interview, which we gotta stop calling these interviews. They're more just talks.
Like chats.
Yeah. Interviews, the SEO keyword,
Right.
because but we haven't done an interview. We started out interview style, but
where we would prepare questions and stuff, and then we quickly moved away from that.
Well, yeah, it seemed to get more real when we just sort of like went off on a tangent and let it roll with it. So yeah, these are all just talks, and we were super fortunate to have talks with these guys.
I think you get a more like intimate and personal portrait of someone when you have just a real person chat.
Yeah. So we have actors, we have producers and directors and writers and you can see what great things come of it. So
yeah. And what a great group. What a fun group to,
Man. I would love to work with these guys.
Yeah.
How could it not be an excellent outcome
yeah.
with this group? I guess to summarize, listen to the advice that, at the end, I think Nathan had the best, you've got to get past the ass kicking.
You got to start the ball rolling.
Start the ball rolling, and don't let it be something you're going to kick yourself in the ass later that you didn't. I mean, when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right. So just keep on going. So
with that, links are going to be in the show notes. So check those out for links for all the stuff they're working on and what they wanted to kind of put out there.
Yep.
And then for more information, go to our website. It is.
Oh, I'm doing it?
Yeah. I was looking pointedly at you.
Well, but you always do. Anyway, so go to www.lordsofmisrollproductions.com.
One day we'll nail this.
I know. We'll actually be like pros.
Yeah. I don't ever want to pre-record it so that it's the same. I just want it to be like this every time.
No, I've had a lot of... One person
starts it and then there's an awkward pause.
I have had a lot of people ask, why don't you pre-record your intro and everything and do your little exit bit and stuff. And it's just like, why? Granted, I did give it some thought because it would be super efficient. And you know how I am about efficiency. But this is just more fun.
It's just more fun.
More for us to do. So anyway,
go to the website, check out our social media accounts. Just look up Bravo for the B-Side on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Yep. And the links are on the website too. Yeah. And check out YouTube because I'm thinking of doing some stuff. I've had a couple people, one person actually reached out, commented and said, man, I wish there was more. You guys are so in depth and everything. And I'm like, well, first of all, thank you. And secondly, this whole thing actually does take place on a podcast. So
there's more.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we will start putting stuff back up there.
Yeah.
From these episodes. But I'm also thinking of doing some stuff we have an idea with Lily and doing little bits. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Check out when you're checking us out on social media, check out our followers, check out the people we follow. And
check out all our buddies that we just interviewed today.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a world of stuff out there, folks. So go ahead and dive into it.
And finally, if you like our podcast and you want to support us, check out our Patreon. And give it a look through and maybe become a patron.
Yeah. You get episodes a week early.
Yeah.
We have one tier. Just one. The one.
Yeah. And then when we're able to do, merchandising and stuff, everyone's going to get the stuff. It'll be really cool.
Yep. Once we hit those goals, we're going to start unleashing stuff. And as patrons, you get to help decide what that stuff is.
Yeah.
We're not going to do chintzy ass keychains. Yeah. Keychains and, bottle stoppers and shit.
If there's Bravo for the B-Side merchandise that you want to see, let us know because we are looking for ideas.
Yeah. And, the patrons are going to be able to pick what they want and we'll make it happen.
Heck yeah.
For free.
And I lied last time when I said finally. This is the finally.
Finally.
Give us the rating or review.
Yes.
Both. Maybe.
Both would be great. Ratings are more important than the review. course, you can't leave a review unless you leave a rating.
Sure.
But, we need to see some ratings because, all the platforms look for that. So.
Well, that's how you get other people, finding us.
Right. And it makes us pop up higher on lists and all that.
Makes us easier to find for other people who might want to listen.
Yeah.
The other 10 people in the world who might want to listen.
I know. We're pushing the boundaries of this niche. Creators, creatives. I hope you got something out of this episode. I hope you get something out of every episode, but I mean, this was like the council of sage wisdom.
Yeah.
These are the people who are doing it.
It's fantastic.
That's just the best. So I think until next time, that's going to be it for us.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you next week.
There you go.
Until then, I'm Danny.
I'm Jim.
Bye.
Bye.